And welcome everybody to DA League's Season 5 Week 4's match between Genesis Gaming and I should say Firestorm. Windstorm now, it's confusing. We're going to get into that into just a second. This is going to be the very last match of the entire year. And joined with me tonight, Kindertunt for the very first time. Do you want to maybe introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Kindertunt. I have casted a couple other PC leagues of around this caliber. Nothing quite to this production value, though. I have to say I'm quite impressed. I'm looking at myself right now with all these bars in the background, and it looks very, very crisp and clean. Very glad to be here,
Thank you.
especially for the last game of the year. I might be new to this league, but I'll try to keep up as best I can.
I got faith in you. If I didn't, you wouldn't be on, to put it bluntly. So
Fantastic, fantastic.
okay, yeah. So the map bans have been finished. This is the only one thing where I'm always struggling because I'm running production and everything. In the meantime, map bans have been done. I just need to invite the players into the private lobby proper. I hear some players also having like mouse issues, so this would give us the perfect excuse and reason to keep on talking for a tad longer. So do you want to maybe talk about map bans while I work the mouse in the background?
Yeah, so Windstorm is the new Firestorm, I suppose, and they have
Yes. Oh shoot, we should talk about
opted.
that. Yeah.
I'll let you take that away if you
Okay.
want to, real
Yes,
fast.
yes. This is like league workings. Let me just invite. I'm gonna have to send a friend request to a few people though, because they're not yet in my friends list. This is where I would love to have two casters on, so I could not be on camera while doing this, because this makes for some awkward situations. Okay. Windstorm, Firestorm, everybody knows they were two rosters of the same org. I'm just going to bring us back here. There were two rosters of the same org. Far as I understand, Windstorm was the main roster. Windstorm, however, has left the org. I'm not sure if they disbanded, left for another org, or what exactly happened. Have they been booted? The inner politics are foreign to me. But one thing is for sure, the org now only has the one roster, so you can't really be second of one, which is why the second roster has kind of been bumped up to like main roster status, which is why Firestorm now becomes Windstorm. Extra confusing, granted, because they're replacing another team with like the name of another team that was playing in the league as well. So this is why you might want to be cautious with those confusions. Okay. Was that confusing enough? I think now we could talk about map bans. What do you think?
I say jump right into it. So
So
here they
there you
are
go.
lining up down here.
Oh, they're not
So
loading
we
though.
see that the first map will be Cafe from Windstorm, Firestorm, the new team here, as they'll be attacking first. Actually, sorry, that would be Oregon that Genesis chose, which means that Windstorm will be defending first. Pretty expected, I would say, given Oregon's defensive favor. Cafe as well, as you can see, it's sort of the reverse flip there. Genesis taking defense first. Again, not very surprising, the roam play that you can bring to a map like Cafe, as well as the kind of anchor turtle defenses with some of those sites, can be rather potent. So not surprised at all to see Genesis taking defense there. And our decider map, should we get to that, in what would probably be 2 hours from now, will be
Pretty much.
Firestorm on attack and Genesis on defense. So Clubhouse, I haven't checked the stats a whole lot recently, especially not for this league. Generally a bit more of a toss-up when it comes to side favors. So I think either team, if they both make it to Clubhouse, that's going to be a heck of a map to finish it on, given how close it generally happens to be.
One other piece of information, I mean, I know we're delving into trivia, but the overtime spawn sides are not, somebody is sneezing in the background. I hope you didn't hear that. That's all right. I love you. The overtime spawn sides are not actually asked by Mapman itself. So you kind of like just have to DM the players on Discord and ask about those. So do apologize. The graphics there for our first map, as you of course can see, Windstorm defense first. And Genesis would be the first one to defend should we reach OT on this map. On the second map, which is going to be Café de Sieski, I am stating the obvious here, we would see Windstorm defend first, so it would kind of be the opposite, as Genesis are the ones to defend first at start. And last, but definitely not least, we would see Genesis defending first on overtime should we reach Clubhouse. Should we reach Clubhouse on overtime, this match would be an absolute banger. Let me just make sure that the settings are set correctly. So Genesis being on the blue team, they'll attack first here. Let's just give the orange team the attack on OT, as the blue team has to defend first. And on my end, I would be ready to go. I'll just ask the players if they are good to go. And
I'm certainly ready to go.
If so, because you were talking about Moss's shoes. I hear Windstorm are good to go, but Genesis may still be stalling a little. No, they are not. Okay, great. So let's not talk about the map itself too much, because, you know, dynamics, operator bands, that kind of stuff, we'll discuss during the operation, the operator bands, I suppose. All right, so yeah, since both teams are ready, let's just type GLHF in chat and hit the start now button. I am currently muted as far as like the game audio is concerned. You know how players love to like scream in their microphones. It's not getting the game. Okay, let me just fix that like real quick, because this is awkward. How are you not? Oh yeah, because when you specify you want to capture a specific window, but it's a different game you've captured since the last time you streamed, this isn't going to cut it. Okay, apologies for that tiny black screen. What do we got here? So this needs to be turned. This needs to be turned on. Oh shoot. Okay. We will not have any replays today, except if maybe I will try to fix something which will include cutting your screen share for just half a second. I am sorry about that.
Here, I'll get up the main screen here, and we'll go ahead.
Yes, it's gonna work. It is gonna work. Okay, so I will share the game, and now you should have also like the actual game audio, and thus you will hear like footstep and such. Okay, want to talk about operator bands? They're pretty typical, so this should be easy.
Absolutely, Thatcher Band coming out, and the Kaid to complement it. Name a better duo. It's like peanut butter and jelly every time they ban a Thatcher. Kaid is quickly to follow, especially for those basement and top floor holds. Very difficult to weed out those Kaid Electro Claws. Maverick as well getting banned is rather interesting. That's more wall breachability that's being banned away. So that'll make it even more difficult for the attackers to get in. They do have Kaid to boot to help them a little bit, but they're going to have to rely on some good old shooting through the ground, or getting some drones inside. I'm sure we'll see a lot of Twitch play, maybe some Zoph, maybe an Ash, you know, depending on the site location. Finally, a Mira ban, not surprising at all. Miras are incredibly common, especially holding inside of kids' room on the top floor, which actually we're going to be going to basement right now, which is Mira's other favorite site to play from inside that pesky laundry closet, though because she's not here, we won't get to see her play at all. We'll see what team comp Windstorm is going to manage to bring out here on this first basement hold.
Yep. I mean, the way I like to present it is Mira is a highly situational operator. What I mean by that is, simply put, if creating a line of sight through a given wall is not a good line of sight, well, then Mira will not be useful on that specific wall. You know, way more map dependent than Jaeger. A nade will kill you if it's close to you, no matter the map, the condition, or the situation. And so this map right here is like one of her best, as far as I would say. So it totally makes sense that you want to not have her on. But with that being said, let's not talk about the missing operators, but rather the ones that are actually going to be here. I do see both the Jaeger and a Romai, so, you know, anti-nade capabilities being crouched to the fullest. This is to be expected when you want to be static. You know, an active, sneaky, flanking roamer, Vigil will be the perfect example of that. It's going to be harder to nade, because you won't exactly know where they are. Whereas, in that case, I would expect Evil to stick around on elbow. You know, people in pillars, people in freezer. This is where you could expect players to be, and thus this is where you could expect grenades to fly.
Especially given that they're going for that blue bunker hold, it looks like. They've got the smoke shield. That's why they've got all that anti-nade denial. They've got the Goyo shields. They've got the smoke shield. Wamai and Jaeger to help hold that position, so they can hunker down inside that bunker and use those smoke canisters to stall the players for as long as possible. But it looks like that bunker play is not going to be the main objective right now. Bimbo's going in for a very, very quick roam clear. I'm not even sure if anyone's... Oh, there's that drone. Always good to have teammates coming in to help you out. He does have to watch out for Clouds, the Valkyrie, who's poised right here inside of security, who might be able to swing onto him from white stairs if he does not get droned out in time. So very precarious situation potentially for Bimbo, as I think maybe 30 seconds into the round, we're already almost to our first confrontation, as it looks like a conversion here onto security from Bimbo.
Yeah, Bimbo seems to be alone though, or nobody is like right there. Oh, that position is now absolutely known. But once again, Bimbo being kind of isolated, no return would be possible if they should die. However, it looks like Yeji is aware of that rotation could put some pressure, but there's still one soft wall in between Zofia and Evil Clouds. I do believe that you also have Jaeger somewhere. No, he's technically above and I should not have been distracted. My apologies on that front, as we kind of just missed the play.
It's all good. Clouds is down. So looks like it's people Mai onto Bimbo right here. Not even a fake Ionic coming down first. Yeji will refrag though. Down goes Wooz. That's the Jaeger taken off of backstairs. So it looks like most of top floor has been cleared. Actually, no. It looks like there's one more defender up towards Freezer Way. Yes, that would be on the backstairs right here. Push coming out. It's going to be an even man count as Doe takes down Yeji, refragging him back out. 3v3 now, as the attackers have E-Box hatch open and possibly also freezer control, but Doe actually still has backstairs, and he's going to be contesting them here from Meeting Hall. Frag Grenade might be the end of him, but he's going to fall off in time very wisely. He's going to have to learn to play conservatively if he wants to hold this. But down comes Angel from Freezer, getting the swing around, but nobody's going to present themselves until, oh my goodness, Cuban with a great flick right there, going to find the head of Angel and take him down, but it looks like Waffle the Twitch already inside of sight, going to have to contend. He's going to grab Cuban from behind, a great headshot trade out right there. He knows the player's still inside bunker. They've got laundry control, but they don't have the diffuser. Oh, he's gonna start to light up. Oh my gosh, through the soft wall. Doe taking a lot of damage. I'm very surprised they got away, but the sneak back through from bunker. I'm not sure if Waffle realizes the player's inside of B-bomb. I don't think he does realize that. He's still firing through the soft wall. He will manage to find it, but the refrag not quite gonna come out. Not enough bullets for the SMG-11. The shotgun gonna go out. Oh, blasted away. He can't find the second though. That's Waffle with a nice double to finish the round, and he just clutched up for Genesis here on basement.
Getting a clutch for the very first round of the entire best of 3, I mean, you're up to a good start. And, you know, morale, momentum, the earlier you can establish it, the earlier you can, I mean, reap the fruits of that reward, of that labor. English is hard, but absolutely that. However, it looks like the replays will be kind of bugged. Let me just show you what we are seeing right now. I'm not entirely sure why we are seeing the replays with that format, so let's forget about them. Unfortunate. I will try to fix this in the background. So, I know we said I was going to be analyst tonight, but if you ever want to try your hand, go for it, because I'm going to try to fix things in the background.
Absolutely.
So sorry about that.
Yeah, well, while the replays are down, we'll just have to use our imaginations and remember what exactly happened. So the first frag went the way of Genesis, actually, as they were able to take down, I think it was Wooz on the back stairs, and then they got Clouds to follow. Maybe my imagination, my memory are not quite up to serve. But Genesis did get several of the opening, or at least the opening pick, and I think several kills to boot. Then it was a pretty even man count. It came down to the 3v3. They managed to clear out, get down to a 2v2 with backside and diffuser control in the hands of the defenders. Usually that's a death sentence for the attackers, but it was some misplay. There were some misplays coming out from the Goyo, I forget who was playing the Goyo at the time, walking in front of that softball, not quite realizing that the line of sight was available for Waffles, who just went absolutely bananas with the F2, walking into sight, managing to take out the last two players, despite being in an eventual 1v2 situation. A really great clutch on his part. It was a very, very close round, though, so I can't fault Windstorm for losing here, as they're going to try to take this site back, and hopefully not lose, especially not by such a close margin. They just want to blow off this team, go to the top floor, and get some momentum under their belts.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Windstorm, they kind of just lost there, so they can, of course, go to the basement again. And the good news is a really double-edged sword, because they know what went wrong. They know what they need to do better. They know how to update their playstyle in order to pull a victory. Once again, like you mentioned, it was so close. You only need to flip the one tiny switch, metaphorically speaking, to pull a victory out of the previous round. It goes both ways, though. Genesis know what went well. They know maybe what was not really too ideal in their push, and they are now going to be able to mount an even more convincing attack. For example, Evil Clouds cannot hang around the CCTV area because that would be expected. And did we mention that there are like a couple of frag grenades on the attacker's side? You have both Waffles and Behimbo with nades for free kills in theory if it were to be utilized correctly. And right there, if there's no ADS device, look at how much damage Evil just took there.
Yeah, Cloud's not in the right position yet again. He's just been banged up these last two rounds pretty badly, and he's using his camera just to see all the carnage going on in Freezer, as Wooz is going to rotate his ADSs. This C4 is going to go out. It's whiffed. Not going to find anyone in return, And it looks like Waffle, I think Waffle still has some frag grenades left in his pocket. Yes, he does. Those can be pivotal for flying through that rotate right there. They don't have the Mira on their side, but they do have that line of sight still open. Yeji, though, gonna find Woos. Yet again, Genesis getting the opening frag. Gonna pick up a second as Angel playing the Twitch this time. Gonna take down Clouds inside Laundry. And Windstorm quickly falling apart at the seams. They've got 3 members, 2 members left as Bimbo finds another. This has been a methodical push right now from the attackers, and the defenders are just not getting any luck at all. They're not watching their angles, they're not firing properly, and they're gonna take a 5-0 flawless loss for that, and they certainly did not learn from the first round. If anything, they came out looking much worse.
As I mentioned, you know, the attack knew what went well, they knew what to expect, so they came in even more assured than before. The results kind of do speak for themselves, as unfortunate as that would be. Our next defense, though, is going to be Kids at Dorm's main hall. You totally get why. I mean, after all, the basement isn't really a winning formula, and you don't want to keep on going there and losing rounds there, so going for a quote-unquote fresh start is the better of the 2 options, in my mind at least, and it seemingly looks like Windstorm would be in agreement with me. Do note that the 6th pick is going to be off the Valkyrie to a Ella. That's interesting. Trap operators. I mean, I do see 2 quote-unquote trap operators if you were to consider Aruni 2. You could also see her as a poor man's Jaeger. Depends on really the point or the angle that's going to be played with those Suya gates. But right now, I can definitely tell you they are played as a trap gadget. The idea being, the slower or the more you can slow down the attack, the more you're going to have time to react to it. Not that Genesis are rushing, but, you know, just turning around and not be too surprised by somebody appearing from somewhere is always going to be a good idea.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, these new strats being whipped out. So, like you said, it's good that Windstorm can now go to the top floor, kind of get a fresh restart here. The problem is that this is absolutely what Genesis is predicting, and I think, in fact, they predicted it last time when they went to basement. Looks like they brought the same exact team comp as the second time they went to basement, and that turned out to be a flawless round for them. So having all those grenades as well as the Fink. I'm not sure if they had the Fink in first round, but that'll definitely come in handy, getting those health boosts. Of course, they don't have a whole lot of roam clear going on. No Nomad, and no Gridlock, nothing of the sort like that. No Jackal either, nothing to find those roamers, so they're just going to be attacking straight onto site, though, it looks like, so maybe that's why they didn't bring any at all. Yeji opening up that primary window right now, and we'll see how the rest of Windstorm is able to react to this.
It's always kind of a trade-off in my mind, because if you're rushing the bomb site itself, you are circumventing the roamers. I mean, for example, Eva right here cannot do anything about Yeji on big window, right? However, that window is the single best defended window in the entire map right now. So saying screw the roamers might not necessarily be the right thing to do, considering how stiff the resistance is going to be right off the bat. I say as Bimbo gets basically a kill on the maybe like 3rd or 4th best defended window in the entire map, and it does not seem to matter because clicking heads will always help you out and put you in a great situation. The roamer is now not exactly in a retake situation. Evil Cuban, that was nasty. Also shutting down an entire angle to the push, as of course Yeji was the only one holding that angle. This gives the breathing room that Evil Cuban uses just to wreak havoc on the attackers. Wow.
He's doing the most for his team right now. Those frags were not going his team's way. He came back into sight from his roam, and it looks like you were right. The roamers should be feared because Cuban is here, and he's here to stay. Looks like the big dorm or window has been retaken up by Angel. He's almost going to take down Cuban. I can't believe Cuban is surviving right now. That should be the moral of this past round, as he and Doe right now hanging inside dorms on White Stairs area. Woos is the only other one. He's over towards Attic, so they're a bit cut off right now, but the attackers have no clear way into sight. Their lines of sight are being cut out. Smoke canisters coming out as well. If they walk in, they're going to take some damage. Actually, they might be able to slip around that. I'm not sure if that quite picked the door. Regardless, smoke canisters coming in, going to pre-fire, almost catching Cuban. Just, I was going to say surviving by the skin of his teeth, but not quite. Oh, but it looks like Woos is not going to get the finish in time. He will get the down. Ozone will manage to finish him off, though. It's basically a 1v1 as Bimbo. I don't think he can self-revive right now. If Angel
Must be
can't
out,
find out where this player is. Oh,
yeah, he's out of stim charges, or overcharged. So yeah, 30 seconds. The smoke canister can be dangerous, but it's tossed more or less out of nowhere. The foot right there!
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
What could have gone Windstorm's way? They threw it away with a foot in the door. You've got to hide your body, man. You got to cover that up and protect yourself. You can't just be standing out there in the open. I don't care how many smoke canisters you've got in your pocket. And that was really, really unfortunate there, as we are going to get a tactical timeout, or potentially a break.
Or
would not
like,
surprise me.
because I mean, the difference is in a tactical timeout, the coaches can unmute themselves, right?
Yes.
Tech
So-
issue. Okay, so for what it's worth, we do ask of the players that they sit in our Discord server during the match so that we can see. Should the coach want to sit and chat with them, that they remain muted for the entirety of the round, or of the game rather. You know what? I do not know why. But I feel like, okay, yeah. Really quickly, if I was to go in like tech support mode real quick, everybody here, everybody like who is a halfway serious gamer is going to know about what's it called? Shadow play, correct? Shadow play being NVIDIA's proprietary technology to record what the graphics card is outputting. So we get snacks break. Come on. So the idea being you don't have to have like a second program re-encode what the graphics card just outputted, and so it saves on horsepower when you're recording. They say they're ready, so let's resume this. Really interesting. This is what I used to record, but however, like that engine can only be used by 3 encoders at the same time, and encoding with OBS, I'm sending a feed to you, and so like I had no juice left to record the replays themselves. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go back to a 2 PC setup. I just got the 1 PC out of the way because it made things simpler for me. However, it does not look like that's gonna be the case after all. Okay, my rambling put aside though, I have one piece of good news. I just recorded a test replay, and the formatting is good this time. We don't have this weird gray bar or black bar at the side.
Attackers need to
So
locate and
yay for me, I suppose. But with that being said, we are not here to talk about my tech issues. We're here to talk about the players. Genesis, dare I say, they were kind of slipping when, was it Evil Woos got the 2 kills in rapid succession with the Aruni?
I think it was Cuban that managed
Cuban,
to do that.
I am amnesic. I am so sorry. Well, you know what? It was a 3v5. You know, that Aruni brings it back down to a 3-3. And at that point, the gunfights were kind of starting to be a little bit even. Granted, Windstorm did end up losing the round at the end, and how close or how far the margin was does not matter. Genesis has a point, and Windstorm doesn't. However, the human factor should not be underestimated, right? Morale, momentum. You couldn't argue, or you could hardly argue that Genesis are getting like a morale boost or momentum boost through that last round, because it was too close to be an actual resounding victory, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest problem here. Is these teams are a lot closer than I think the scoreline reflects right now.
Yeah.
2 rounds back to back now have been basically 1v1s. Of course, there was a flawless in between, so let's not discount that. But I mean, 2 1v1 rounds out of 3, you'd think that Windstorm would have a couple points on the board, and the fact that they don't isn't maybe exactly reflective of how this game has gone, but you're absolutely right. The morale is now down. They've lost 3 straight on the 2 best sites on a rather defender-sided map. I mean, that's really just going to put you in the dirt right now, and they're scrambling to try to find new strategies to make this work. You can see they don't nearly have the extended roam or the security vault that they did before, and Genesis is making darn sure of that as they go ahead and clear security, and they're watching their drones be shot out from Freezer. They're getting all their intel done, doing their due diligence to make sure there aren't quite any roamers. The only presence is potentially on backstairs, and they do have that black eye camera in meeting area, so they might be able to make a nice rotate from there. But it looks like Waffle, the sledge, is already in there to cover that, as, oh, pressure coming out, Cloud's gonna fall back since he can't quite shoot the drone in time. It will finally be felled, but that hatch is also getting popped by Shiesty, the Hibana, who may not have a lot of kills, but is certainly doing a good bit of work with the utility, so that should be noted. And Bimbo with a double kill. You can't line up like that. My goodness, don't make the line of sight if you can't quite hold it. Headshots for Bimbo today. It's Christmas all over again for him. It's already a 5 versus 3, and Cuban's out of the way, so no more clutch potential unless the rest of the members of Windstorm can find it. The yellow ping's coming out. He has to swing right now from behind the gray box. They know that he's there. They're potentially watching him. He might be able to catch him looking away. He does. Down will go Bimbo. The C4 comes out. Not quite going to catch the other one, though. That's Waffle, who's all the way back and protected behind the freezer wall. He still has this long angle to hold, though, and it looks like he's got support coming in from Laundry as well. They're going to have to pincer if they want this to work, but all unfortunate timing as Bimbo leaves the game. I guess it's not terrible, though. He was the one that had been felled, so it's still a 4v3. Frag grenade coming in, though. Let's see if he catches that Goyo shield. It will, and that'll actually kill Cuban on it, or not Cuban, sorry, Clouds on impact. Ozone fell from Laundry. Players are flooding in from too many different directions. It's all on Ruse. The soft wall's not working to his advantage. He'll grab 1, grab 2. Headshots lining up back and forth. Shicey's trying to get this plant off. He's got to swing right here. He's got the red ping. He needs to swing faster, but he's not quite going to get it in time. The players knowing they've been spotted, they're going to fall off the diffuser right now. Throwing in stuns, though. Woos doesn't stand much of a chance. They're going to play a bit passively and just let Woos push to them, and I don't think there's quite any way he can come back out of this. He's going to swing in. Player in Laundry takes him down, and that's the round.
Wow, your play-by-play, your high-intensity play-by-play is so good. It's so good, really. The yellow ping was on point. However, it did not account for the cross angle. And at the end of the day, you know, Jaeger got 2 kills in rapid succession near the end. But then after that, once retaking control of, I could hardly tell you what like the difference between the two areas are. Why am I not asking for pause? I mean, they're like a player. Oh, he's back just in time. You guys couldn't see it through the replays, but yes, Genesis will not. Bambo playing recruits. I guess they are going to 6 pick off of that. Wait, recruit. Okay, this is so random. I'm sorry. I am totally getting sidetracked here. Recruit isn't actually a pick you can choose during a custom match, correct?
I don't know the exact rules on that. I've never seen anyone do it before.
No, as in it's like literally not an option in the game anymore, as far as I know.
I've seen people pull it ranked actually. There's a glitch around it, I think.
Okay.
Maybe if you rejoin at a certain time.
Gotcha.
But I guess he did not get the 6 pick in time. So
yeah.
Bimbo, not on the Finka, on the recruit instead. Let's at least hope he has a good weapon. If we don't have to restart this round. Yeah, I believe it's a game glitch because I thought it wasn't allowed ranked either, and I saw it ranked a couple weeks back and was very confused. So let's just chalk it up to Ubi. When in doubt, blame Ubi because it's probably their fault anyways.
Oh, but when is it not their fault? Okay.
Jumping into this round, we've got a slightly different team comp. Cuban going on the Vigil. This is good. If it first 4 times you don't succeed, try something else. So Thunderbird coming out as well for some nice residual health, which should hopefully help the defense win some more of their gunfights. They are going back to basement. This is their 4th time now on basement. So we'll see if they're able to pull out anything differently this time.
Bambo's not swimming like the LMG either, because that could have been like one factor why you might maybe want to bring it. You know, the LMG pre-fire capabilities. Very few operators have that, right? So the recruit could have maybe been a cheap way to get that. Not the case after all. So I guess the competitive integrity will be very minimally hurt here. But yeah, you're totally right. If I was to go into like big picture mode and take a step back, why are Windstorm not going to the top floor? They still lost, but it was so much closer than what they ever managed to get in the basement area. So yeah, they're changing this up. Like you mentioned, this is the right thing to do, but it also gets me slightly worried because if your preferred operator does not work, going on like a gun, which you know a bit less, that kind of stuff, might not be ideal as Yeji gets a kill, Waffle is like on really low health, Evils gets a kill. That was with the shotgun on top of that, and this is exactly what you meant, right? If they're not getting headshotted, they can just heal up, and it's anecdotal, but to me it doesn't feel like too many of those kills are actually headshots. Nades are instant kills as we saw last round, but it's still going to be Sledge that dies. Could be a double kill. No, it's going to be a refrag. Actually, nice flick from Shiesty, I gotta say.
Yeah, he stepped up into his role quite nicely. That was a good refrag there, like you mentioned. And I have to applaud this more aggressive roam from Windstorm. They've got these Thunderbird Kona stations they can come back to heal up, lick their wounds, and they're using them quite nicely. As you can see, Clouds, who got the spaz kill of all things, gonna fall back into sight and actually manage to heal up almost completely to full. One more Kona station boost should get him back on full health. As we're now kind of at a crossroads here, 3 versus 3. Hibana's trying to get these pellets to blow Freezer Wall from that security hatch. Sounds like they've been shot off, though. Smoke's going out from Angel. He's going to try to plant as he cuts off those lines of sight, but he still has to watch down the hallway towards Pillar. He's going to try to rotate in, but the player's going to rotate from Pillar. He's not going to see him. He's going to flick onto him. Oh my gosh, Doe, how do you miss those shots, man? You got to land those. Shiesty going to fake the plant. Stun grenades going up, but a swing right now coming out from Cuban. Not quite going to get him in time. But Shiesty actually is downed. I'm not sure if that was what was happening. I got a little concussed by the stun myself. And Cuban will take down Yeji. Shiesty goes down by Cuban as well. It's all on Angel. And Windstorm going to take their first round. Looks like those roster changes or those lineup operator changes actually panned out for them. And not much more befitting way that they could go out than with a Kickstar Spaz kill.
Yep, the shotgun is going to be the round savior, and this is going to kick off. I mean, Windstorm's hypothetical round win streak still has to happen, but one thing is for sure, if you see them and you think to yourselves, okay, they're having a hard time, they're not winning too many rounds, well, now they are warmed up. Some teams just need a bit more time to warm up and to be like their full sets and ready and everything. But then again, the idea is if you need 4 rounds before you start winning your points, you are just conceding 4 points to the enemy just in the name of warming up. So this is a drawback of some teams. Not saying it's the case here, but if that applies to you, this would be one of the major points to fix, because this can be just total game changer, even if on a good day your gun skill is better than it otherwise would be, right?
Absolutely, and yeah, certainly they got their first round win. Maybe that can start boosting some morale, get them back into this game, so it's not just going to be a clean sweep or anything like that. But let's bear in mind also that Genesis were playing with a man on recruit. He might be really good at getting frags, but if you don't have an operator that you're planning on bringing who's been clutch, not only in getting kills with that LMG, but also having frag grenades, having health boosts. I believe, is the recoil buff still in the game? Have they patched that out yet? I'm not sure. I think they have yet.
You mean on Finca, right?
Yes, yeah.
So on Finca, the recoil buff, the recoil gets only buffed horizontally now. I know how, like, surprising it sounds to say that that reducing the vertical recoil is actually not a desirable effect. I know how it works, right? But it still sounds weird when you say it out loud. So yes, only the horizontal, like, left to right recoil gets nerfed now. That gets buffed now, actually.
Okay. So still a bit of a recoil, well, recoil nerf, I suppose. So yeah, that's definitely a key operator to lose, especially from your almost top frag. I guess Waffles is technically above Bimbo now. But yeah, so Windstorm needs to take that win with a grain of salt, but also use that momentum to keep going. The drone's coming in. Gonna have to get aggressive on this push right here. Gonna get one. Gonna get the second. Oh my goodness, Woo's finally finding his trigger finger, and he's gonna grab both Waffle and Angels for his troubles. Yeji trying to find a refrag here. Ozone gonna shut down Bimbo, though, I do believe. Or was that? Yeah, that was Bimbo.
That was Bimbo, yeah.
So, a nice cleanup there, and Windstorm quickly taking the lead, using that morale they got from the last round to turn it into an absolute curb stomping of a round from what it looks like so far.
Morale momentum can be gained so quickly and lost on a dime, seemingly, if you look at how Genesis Party are performing right now. In a 2v5 situation, granted, the guys that remain are not too shabby fraggers. I mean, Yeji with 5-3, not the top fragger of his team, but I mean, it's still strongly positive, right? Thing is, math and numbers are going to add up, and this is maybe Windstorm being a bit too aggressive. Downed, I'm not sure by who. Was it Yeji from underneath? This is so aggressive. That's a triple kill for Evil.
Woo's, again, finding that trigger finger yet again. He's been the first pick in so many of these rounds so far, and he's finally getting aggressive, and it's panning out for him. It's just Shiesty, the support player for Genesis, left right here to try to clutch up in a 1v5, and it's just not possible. So speaking of aggression, what they really did well to earn them a flawless round. My goodness, Windstorm, what a comeback there. But what they really did to earn themselves that flawless round, and what they did to win the last two rounds, is that they brought a roam. The first round, they brought a roam, but it was very static. They had the player trapped in security. They were trying to bait players in. They weren't giving away their positions and getting fragged out really easily. These past couple rounds, they've had multiple roamers going around. I saw in the previous round, they were impacting walls for each other, rotating off, just taking pot shots around angles. They're not being necessarily carelessly aggressive. They are definitely throwing a bit of caution to the wind and getting out there when it matters, as you can see right there with Woo's. My goodness. That was some great timing. He knew the drone was going to be coming out as well. He heard it and knew that he could run out and quickly grab one and then finish the other before he got the drones. So you got that well-timed aggression, but just having a generally more aggressive roam is seeming to pan out way better for Windstorm. Of course, we won't get to test that theory about static versus active roams anymore, as they are going to be heading to the attacker side. We'll see if they're able to replicate some of the success that Genesis had on their first couple of attacks. I'm definitely excited to see this side swap and how the rest of the rounds play out, because I think it could get really, really close.
I'm always excited to see a role swap, just like you are. Simply put, you know, you're going to see different playstyles. Angel bringing Castle, and if the teams that plays Castle ends up defending better than the team that didn't, the team that didn't maybe should bring Castle in the future. You know, comparing both playstyles and saying, hey, whoever lost, copy your opponent, because, I mean, they beat you with that strategy, didn't they? With that being said, though, I do want to talk about the human factor a little bit. So Genesis, they want like 4 rounds, the 4 first rounds. Windstorm only winning 2. I mean, it's not exactly momentum and full morale situation that we got going on right now. And, you know, having only 2 points on the defensive side of this map, of all maps, is not ideal. But the very last round, my bad, they won in a flawless fashion. So saying they only have 2 rounds momentum is not exactly telling the full story when you take the human aspect into consideration. So at this point, would you, I don't know, it's... Yeah, would you say Windstorm are in point of hitting their stride? Yes, they are. I will answer my own question, because I think you would be a fool to argue against that right now.
And look at that, exactly. There's some more aggression, or not again, not careless aggression, but they had multiple people opening up those windows and doors to get into small tower. They were making quick work of that room getting inside so they can push and aggress onto the objective, but they had multiple angles covered right there. That was excellent work to really pressure that player in small tower. They were lucky that he went for the C4 and didn't try to wait any longer, but that player probably knew that they had frag grenades, so he decided to act. Bimbo, though, finding his form again, this time with the SMG-11. Who needs a million bullets when you've got the accuracy of Bimbo? He's above. They're getting those yellow pings. They're pulling out frag grenades. Bimbo might have to start dancing here in a minute. He's actually way inside of kitchen now, but they will at least get that open. Another frag one out. Oh my goodness, Bimbo taking a lot of damage, but he knows where the player is. Just gonna keep watching that tight little angle. Oh my gosh, almost losing his head in the process. This has been incredibly intense, and it looks like with that, the Finka of Cuban's just gonna sneak right into sight. The foothold here gonna play very poorly for Cuban. Waffles holding inside of Meeting Hall, and this has been a very, very big fight with the Roam so far on what is actually an upstairs objective.
I do want to mention that Bimbo is in a bit of a tough situation because he's kind of exposed to the big window right there, especially if you want to peek the hatch, and the hatch at that range. Yeah, the shotgun can be dangerous and everything, but the idea is watch out that you don't want to be biting off more than you can chew, especially since there's a silhouette somewhere. I'm not exactly quite sure who that is. This evil ozone watching the big window. So yeah, it was just a matter of time. Aggressive as he was going to die. Almost playing as a roamer, but like from the bomb site. I mean, attracting attention, playing for time. With any kind of luck, you can get a kill or two, but at the end of the day, I mean, roamers, this kind of weird on-site kind of almost room attitude, once again, was meant to play for time, and it absolutely worked, even though it didn't get too many kills. Now, Evil Cuban will be looking at the ceiling. That would be the perfect moment for Waffles to just walk right up, as, you know, if you're looking at the sky, you will not see what's right in front of you. However, does not matter. Woos gets the kill, and now in a 2v4 situation, Windstorm are absolutely in the driver's seat.
Absolutely, yeah. And you saw how, again, that smoke kind of threw away his life there. He managed to pick up one frag, like you said, but that's not really a whole lot when he could have had 3 smoke canisters in his pocket to stall out these pushes. So that was really poor usage of his utility, and perhaps they should have had somebody else playing on that role. As they're now finding themselves in a 2v4, that was some great flank watch from Windstorm, actually. Though, oh my goodness, Angel gonna make it a 2v2 in sight. I'm getting behind myself. Will get the refrag, though. It's all on Angel now for Genesis to clutch this up. They're in default. He sees the Ionic, gonna take him down. It's a 1v1 now. It's all on Cuban. He's been the clutch master before. He doesn't quite know where this person is. He's gonna have to open the plant. He doesn't have enough time to pull off. He's going to commit to the plant. Let's see if Angel picks up on it quickly enough. Goes for default. Doesn't see him there. Going to push over towards Storms. He's not going to get. He's going to get the plant off. And he's going to hide behind the metal bed frame as well. He's completely in a solid position here. He has no more frag grenades left. No more Finka buffs. But it's just a castle with a UMP against a massive LMG. But that UMP is going to be enough to pull it out. A quad kill for Angel. You can see him move his head spastically in excitement as he's also going to get the counter defuse to win out the round. Genesis finally taking one back after what was such a convincing Windstorm round to start. And my goodness, Angel just saved his team's hopes.
I mean, I think we all saw what was said in chat. Angel is my dad. I will do you one more. Angel can give me babies right now. Okay, jokes aside, this was, I mean, this just goes to show, I said this before, I will be repeating myself. My apologies. An entire round can be turned upside down in just a blink of an eye. Few kills in rapid succession with the UMP-45 of all guns, where Windstorm had the upper hand for the entirety of the round since the get-go with this, like, careless aggression that you mentioned, right? And foregone conclusion that we all were expecting ends up just being snatched away from Windstorm, and Genesis says, no, this round is mine. And it looks like they just believed it strong enough to will it into existence. English hard, but yeah, you get the idea.
No, absolutely I do, and yeah, that's what, as Canadian would say, the worst or something to that effect.
We all know that reference. We all do.
Yeah, an incredible clutch from Angel. But yeah, Windstorm, they were doing everything right that round. I mean, they were watching their flanks, they had it down to a 4v2, they were using their frag grenades properly, taking out that on-site roamer, as you mentioned, which was a rather bizarre concept that minorly worked. I guess it worked in the end since they won. But yeah, they were doing a great job of just clearing and aggressing onto the site. But when it came to actually jumping onto the site, they had that white stair push, they had that window push, and their players were just mowed down. They didn't have anyone pushing from the master side. Castle was able to sit, I believe, over in Games Room and use that so-called worst gun in the game to pick up a quad kill. Just awful execution onto the site on the behalf of Windstorm, and that's really going to throw a wrench in their plans. It's now Genesis, they're going, hey, you know, we remember how to win a round. We just won a round on defense. I think we can pull the rest of this out. We're going to even bring a freaking Tachanka just to put salt in the wound and possibly fire in the wound as well. So we're going to basement now, the second defense for Genesis, and we'll see if it pans out successfully or not for them.
Okay, I do want to note two things. First and foremost, we're seeing a Ying. Ying is, I mean, flash grenades on steroids. Basically, somebody's going to be flashed for way longer than a typical flash, and so you can rush them, and they're free kill, provided nobody else is, like, holding a cross angle or something. The drone is going to make it obvious that Yeji was roaming somewhere, because, I mean, only a Rooney can make those punch holes. Waffles and Bimbo is there too, so that's like a total of 3 roamers that could potentially like harass you and ruin your day. The idea being there's a lot more cross angles and you know, teamwork potential than you'd have if you were only playing against like the one isolated Vigil. I say as Woos is gonna get the first kill on Waffle. I mean, it's a good start, right? You do have the Tachanka that I also do want to touch up on. I know we're no longer in the preparation phase, but the idea is he's kind of smoke, but with more canisters, and the canisters have a lower radius. However, if you're talking about a doorway, such as the one that's right in front of Angel right now, you don't need the smoke canisters. The Shumika grenades are going to be more than enough to prevent anybody from stepping through that doorway. Corridors and, you know, open areas are a bit of a different factor. Yet, you know, with a tiny magazine peeking and pre-firing, that might not be the best kit or setup to do so, which is why he's going to fall back to Boiler and like E-Box area. On the other side, Angel also is falling back, so it looks like the defense is maybe shrinking the area of the map they want to control, but in doing so, they make like the core bomb site itself so much tougher enough to crack. That's the game plan, at least.
Absolutely, having those players kind of off-site, not even necessarily getting kills, they in fact lost Waffle, but that's okay if you're the defense. That's not the end of the world, as long as you're able to stall for time. Look at this, we're already down to a minute, and they're just now getting Freezer Hatch with a potential swing coming out here. Not quite in time, he overlooked him, he was trapped back in the far corner. Woos will get out of there with his life, and a little bit of extra life to boot from that nice finka of Cuban. But yeah, the defenders, they don't have to necessarily get kills. A good roam doesn't necessarily have to net a ton of kills and destroy the entire enemy team. It just has to stall for time. They've done a pretty good job of that so far without losing too many bodies. Now, like you said, I'm not sure how this backstair hold is going to go with Yeji. You got to land a headshot with this Roni nowadays, or it's just not worth anything at all. And he's being droned out pretty sufficiently right now. Trumika launchers? My Russian is not exactly... Yeah.
I wouldn't know what it translates to, but that was it. It was friendly fire. Unfortunate. It's the kind of stuff that you can hardly afford to with only 20-some seconds left on the clock. The Ying grenades are going to be absolutely primordial now, because if you could get like a free pick off of those, this is going to make or break the entire round, because the defenders are still pretty well entrenched, I gotta say. Doe right here could be a good distraction. If I see not looking at E-Box, does not matter. However, Bimbo not flash, gets a refrag immediately. Angel is going to be so weak.
Oh my goodness. Angel, the Tachanka was right there in the corner, fully flashed. All he had to do, if he weren't blind, all he had to do was turn to the left, shoot the planter, and he would have won in a 1v4 situation. Cuban saying, yo, right now, he's very fortunate that they made it out with with a round win. Like you said, those flash grenades on crack, on steroids, those really came in clutch right there. The gunplay from Windstorm was fantastic, but again, the rolling doesn't do a great job of depleting time. They were down to less than 5 seconds when they were just trying to plant the diffuser with a player left in sight. Still only got 3 seconds left on the clock. They're very, very fortunate that Cuban was there to get that kill. I can't imagine his heart probably leapt out of his throat as he made that connection and said, oh my gosh, that's an enemy standing right next to the dude that can just make it around his hands. So that could have gone very much the other way in favor of Genesis, and I think that would needed the morale of the players on Windstorm had that happen. Windstorm, they're still in this. They've got a fighting chance, and they're going to continue to take it to Genesis on the defense, back on basement.
So really quickly, I do want to talk about the way Windstorm wins their rounds. They only won 3 compared to the Genesis 5, but when they won like 1 flawless round, and the very last round, only 1 attacker fell, and 1 attacker died. So they are definitely capable of winning, and if you were to like take this situation and a bit less to the extreme, like if they can win the 1 round in a flawless situation, I suppose they can win like 2 or 3 here or there to hypothetically bring the scores back, but that's just like the theory that is kind of disconnected from reality, because right now Windstorm are not winning rounds in a consistent and reliable fashion, and the game is like underweight pretty significantly at this point, right? Genesis only 2 points away from a victory. So the question then becomes, can Windstorm start to get an undeniable momentum going and win multiple rounds in a row without slipping up? And this is where I gotta say I'm doubting a little bit, because they have proven they can win a round but not multiple rounds, you know?
Yes, and the amount of rounds that Windstorm have thrown as well. I mean, we harken back to those couple of 1v1s. They lost the smoke foot. That'll haunt them if they lose this game. But so many rounds that not thrown in that the players were purposefully throwing them, but thrown in the fact that they should have been won. And it's very, very unfortunate for Windstorm that they lost those rounds now when the points actually really matter, as we're 1 round away from match point for this first map here. And this was also Let me
This
pull
is
up the
Genesis
real
map,
fast.
if that's what
This
you
is
were
Genesis
going
map.
to go for.
You read my mind, absolutely. So this is Genesis map, so you would expect them to win here, but Oregon is a very commonly played map. I mean, like, every team knows how to play this like the back of their hand, so you'd expect a bit more of a fight from Windstorm, maybe a bit fewer mistakes being made, and it's also difficult losing the first map, even if you're going into yours on the second map, just because that morale's down, and, you know, you're already a game down, and you've got 2 more if you want to win out this series.
Yeah, never underestimate the human factor. It looks like right here, Cubans knows exactly where Yeji is going to be. Thing is, Yeji is kind of in a cul-de-sac and a dead end, so getting the kill off him might not be necessarily primordial, because you can just paralyze him right there in the staircase and, like, artificially turn this into a 45 situation. You would need a gun, so I suppose you'd say, yeah, if one attacker stays there holding the angle, it is like a 4v4, but at the end of the day, right, he's still isolated and with no way out. I say, as I just realized, there's a punch hole there. But said punch hole just allows him to rotate into the waiting arms from Clouds.
I was about to compliment his rotate. I was like, look at this. He can't even watch them from meeting hall. But it looks like Windstorm was on top of that. They're watching their flanks again, just like they were a couple rounds ago. They're getting back into this groove. They got in the opening pick. That doesn't guarantee anything. But oh my gosh, a huge double for Waffle. They just thrown a drone his way. What unfortunate timing for Windstorm, and great timing for Waffle, as Bimbo's going to make that a 4 versus 2, and Windstorm are falling apart at the seams right now, as it's just Doe and Cuban trying to progress down main stairs from into Laundry, take out the Malusi Banshee. They're going to have to rotate back off. They know the players know exactly where they are, and they know the roam's going to be coming for them soon, most likely. If not, then they've got a huge turtle defense. They're going to have to just plow their way through with a single frag grenade and an MP7, and I guess an LMG too.
Did you note that the mating hatch has Hibana pellets on it, but they haven't been detonated? There's no way this is jammed, there's no electricity on it either or anything like that. So Hibana just wanted to press the trigger once when blowing both hatches at the same time. This is arguably going to turn around and bite them in the butt. Right now, they had no choice but to run down big tower stairs. And what do you do as a defender? You just hold down the angle and you pre-fire as soon as something moves. And this is, of course, going to yield predictable results. As unfortunate for any Windstorm fan as it is going to be, we are not in a match point situation. Genesis Gaming never losing more than a round or 2 at a time. And, you know, that situation adds up over time. And now we're seeing the build-up up to a 6-3 situation. I don't see how Windstorm could pull it off. And just like you mentioned, I do want to echo this because I agree wholeheartedly. This is Genesis' map pick, but it's such a common map that there's a fair chance that if Genesis didn't pick it as map 1, Windstorm would have picked it the second, simply because they happen to be the second ones to pick a map.
That's a very fair point. You're right. You never know. Yeah, just because it's one team's map doesn't mean the other team wasn't also planning to pick it. Maybe they thought, hey, they picked our map, we're going to come in here and win really easily. And now they're getting clapped match point 6-2, and they're getting clapped because of easy mistakes that they're making. They're droning just a little bit too late. They're not watching certain flanks. You can tell they've got the mechanical skill and even some of the map knowledge, strategical skill. They managed to get that Aruni on the rotate, or sorry. Yeah, they managed to get the Aruni on the rotate up and added. You know, great play right there. When it actually comes to executing, and right prior to the execute especially, it seems like Windstorm too frequently are falling apart at that seams. The Waffle double kill right there was a perfect example of this. An easy player to just drone out. 5 seconds, or maybe even like 3 seconds earlier, if they droned that, Waffle would not have gotten the double kill that he did, and Windstorm very well might have won that round. But they're just slipping up just slightly, and it looks like Genesis is more than prepared for this, and they're well on their way to their first map victory in this series.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty big for the morale, the momentum. If I was just to keep on riffing on the previous point of like the map pick, which could very well have been Windstorm's if Genesis didn't pick that. Furthermore, Windstorm got to pick spawn sides, and if you think defending is easier, well then you want to pick defense as your first spawn side to get a momentum, which hopefully will carry you through the harder attacking half. This was hypothetically or presumably Windstorm's game plan, but look how it backfired. Now they barely got any points on the defense, and on attack they are going to get like the 1 and maybe nothing more if Genesis were to win this round. I gotta say, Clouds is still playing Ying, and we do remember how pivotal she was the last time she actually did anything. So let's not count them out just yet, but once again, there's more than just the one round of play, and this is off to, I mean, as good start as any. Woods is going to get the first pick off of the edge. That was the wrong game. There is a shotgun out of range, but also Evils did toss out a Ying Candela. That's going to be on above side, rather. Waffles here flashed, and so weak. But then again, nobody's pushing you, so the flash effect disappears, and it's back to square one. But Evil has fewer Candelas in his back pocket, so what was the point?
Yeah, I mean, it panned out well for Windstorm in the end. He might have lost a Candela or two in the process. Perhaps not quite super necessary, but they did at least grab those first 2 picks onto HansIV and Yeji. Of course, they still have to deal with the 3 best... I was going to say the 3 best fraggers. Now the 2 best fraggers. Angel taking down Bimbo again. Woos. He's found his role here. We said he found his trigger finger earlier. He's found more than that. He's pulled out 2 guns right now, and he's absolutely blowing away the competition. It's all on Waffle to hold from above right here from this kid's hatch as... Windstorm looks just very content to just wait this out. Drone, do some good work. They're not going to make the mistakes that they've made in throwing a couple of these past rounds when they've had huge man count advantages. The Iona Gemini is going to find the player of Waffle. The Lion Scan's going to go out.
Embarrassing.
Waffle can't quite hit the Gemini. That is a little embarrassing.
I mean, what if it was the actual player, you know?
That would be hilarious. Just walk in as Iona, pretend to be your Gemini, and completely fake out. He's like, oh, I don't have to kill it, you know.
Some players will do that, like they're gonna fake out the alibi, the Gemini. Sorry, you hear the sound, but like cancel at the very last moment, so it's the actual player running. Diffuser is now planted. Waffle has some solid gun skill, but usually knows there's somebody right there. I mean, the actual kill that matters. He ends up landing the shots, but no, Diffuser's planted in a post-plant situation in a 3v1. The attackers are gonna do attackers things. They are spreading themselves out so that you have to waste as much time as possible to run from one to the other. And being on the top floor, you're gonna have to run up the stairs. Seems to know. I mean, it's just a very long game of merry-go-round right now. And the timer just keeps on going down. There's going to be somebody hard right. Gets the not kill. Actually, that was a drop shot. And with the flash, it's now game. It's a round, rather. There's no way he wins that. And there you have it. Windstorm taking round number 10.
Absolutely. A rather decisive victory for Windstorm. As it looks like some lag in the chat from Ozone, unfortunately for him. But yeah, that was the decisive victory they needed. Like you said, they'd won rounds every now and again, but they hadn't really put them up in convincing fashion. That was the more convincing ones they put up. Now the question is, can they use this to build more momentum? They're still on match point. They know that if they want to win this, they have to take it to OT. But you know what I say? I say take it to OT now instead of having to go to an overtime map in Clubhouse. So absolutely right now, they need to clutch up. They need to bring this to OT. This next round will be absolutely difficult. They take this, I depleted, and I think they'll give up to an OT. And then from there, I don't know who will win. That'll be its own problem once that arises. But we're now going into the 6-4 split as some more lagging being resolved. And some new players, actually, no, I think a rather similar team back out. And we are now back down to the tertiary site once again, interestingly enough.
I was going to be curious about that too, yeah. Why not go elsewhere? Why not go back on laundry or in dorms?
Yeah, because I think laundry and dorms are both open now, are they not?
Yeah, they are, yeah. Only laundry would be rather, sorry.
Okay.
But
even still, laundry, yeah. I suppose it might be a little bit too predictable, and that might be exactly why Genesis is opting to go back to the tertiary site, because they're thinking, oh, Windstorm, you know, they know that we're going to try to clutch this one out, go back to a site that we know really well, that we're really good at playing, that we beat them pretty decisively on, and they're just going to go back to the tertiary site and completely throw off the game plan. Though it looks like basically the same lineup, maybe minus one player, so coming out from Windstorm. That's pretty typical of comp teams at this level. So we'll see if they're able to adapt their strategies quickly enough to have some repeat success on this this kitchen dining site, or sorry, meeting room kitchen site.
Here's the big question though, and only time will tell. They're picking a weaker bomb site, like unarguably weaker bomb site, in the name of the advantage of surprise to break it down that way. Is it a trade that's actually going to be worthwhile? Because if you're doing so great that the enemy team knows what you're doing, but they're powerless to stop it, aka like going for a strong, unpenetrable defense on the best bomb site of the map, that would, like, advantage surprise or being predictable would not be an issue at all, right? As I said, it's going to be a matter of wait and see. But then again, Clouds is going to get the first pick here on Waffle. Did we mention Waffle is like one of the top fraggers of his team, co-top fragger alongside Bimbo. So this is, out of like every kill you could get early on, this is a huge kill. Unfortunately, Bimbo not able to deny the Suya gate right there. And so it can be reopened eventually with time. But at the end of the day, getting the kill a bit earlier would still have been pretty good. On top of that, oh no! I thought it was an toss at the ceiling, but rather Angel goes down. Smoke in a late stage situation could be absolutely huge. And as such, Windstorm, they're getting the picks that count right now.
Yeah, and this is looking really bad for Genesis. This element of surprise not panning out quite the way they want to. There are too many frag grenades, apparently, on the side of Windstorm right now, and most of them are finding their mark or some kind of mark. But on the bright side for Genesis, if they do lose this round, not to get ahead of myself, then they do have the option to go to master bedroom or down to laundry basement as well. So they will have potentially that element of switcheroo to throw onto Windstorm. But right now, Candelas are being thrown onto the top main dorm. And oh my goodness, a nice pick there for Yeji. He's going to try to even out the man count. Or at least get it down closer to even. That was a great little headshot flick there from him, but he knows he's being aggressed onto quite hard. That Yin Candela going out to no avail, though, as it looks like the attackers of Windstorm, for all the kills they got in the early round, especially onto some rather potent fraggers, they're kind of stalling out right here. They don't know how else they want to progress. The defenders are doing a great job of just holding the sight from wherever they are and making sure that nobody's able to get in and get that plant off.
And the later the run progresses, the more the timer is going to become the sixth man for the defense, the kind of stuff that Windstorm really do not want to have happen. Even Smoke is dead. I mean, Legion, it's been so long since I said that name, nobody's playing him anymore. Legion is still just creating those glue mines, and they are going to come in clutch. They can also delay a push, because if you have to take the needle out of the foot, well, if you only have 2 seconds left on the push, you're not going to be able to plant, for example. I've seen that happen once or twice myself. But with that being said, for everything that the defense has going for them, Windstorm has now a 2-to-1 numerical advantage for V2, but the ratio that is, and Yeji now has next to no control of bombsite itself. Diffuser is going to be planted. I don't see how he could deny that. Getting a pick or two at the top floor in be interesting, but oh, that angle, I was not expecting it, and neither was A.
That was a great angle to hold right there, and it looks like Windstorm, they've definitely got this round in the bag. There's no way Yeji pulls this off. He can't even get the first kill on a Doe. Doe's going to find one for his troubles with that Lion modded out Vector. But yeah, Windstorm, I thought they were stalling out. I thought their wheels were stuck in mud. It was a 3v4. The defenders were all poised and rather tenable situations and positions to hold off the push onto that site. But they were able to get that extra kill there. I forget exactly where. And they were able to get those angles set up to watch the crossfires, to get into sight. I think it was Scheist, or it was Ozone on the Hamana. I think there was a double there towards the end. That was just really clutch, pulling that round out. They had it going strong at the beginning, but what makes a team good is not how they start, it's how they finish out the round. And honestly, I'm very surprised with how Windstorm brought that back. They haven't let this momentum get the better of them, the momentum that Genesis built up with their initial 4-round win streak and then their continued push. What was it? It was originally 6-2, I think it was 6-3 when they first went into overtime, or sorry, into match point. But Windstorm's going to keep chugging along, keep fighting. They're doing a great job so far. They do have to go back to one of the more standard, the more regularly played sites now, and it looks like that one's going to be basement. But we'll see if they're able to pull it back off and take ours to overtime.
I mean, I gotta say, if I was just to add my 2 cents onto, I mean, the way you just debriefed the last round, I did not expect Windstorm to pull it off either. I mean, just to reuse your expression there, you have something new every day. They had their wheels stuck in the mud. I love it. Just for example, Evil Doe with the Yin Candela charges trying to dislodge Angel, that was Yeji with the Aruni, and like tossing two Candelas, losing a player in the meantime, and eventually just bailing out, thus accepting the fact that there's going to be somebody watching the hatch, and by extension, pushing from dining was going to be next to impossible. How do you come back from that? Well, answer is you rotate, and Windstorm did just that, and it ended up working. But now they definitely do have morale and momentum firmly on their side. Evil Doe still playing with Ying. Go figure why. But furthermore, Clouds with a blitz as the cat is pushing something off the table. Just a bunch of pens. Sorry if you heard the background, nothing's broken. And now they're going to be rushing, and this is interesting. They have control of elbow, one of the defender died, and now they have a tenuous hold on bombsite itself. A flash comes out, you know, when you stack the Yin Candelas on top of that, this is going to be a nice kill. His second one maybe, but Angel does not want to go down without a fight. And don't forget about Bimbo with the nasty cross angle. Flashed again, he's going to try for the knife, I want to say. Nope, still goes down. Now in a 1v3 situation, you got Jaeger, who's got somebody in their backs, gets the kill, but now has to turn around really quickly because the fuse is being planted. On top of that, you got Blitz covering their teammates behind a deployable shield. On top of that, I don't see how you could deny the plant. Neither does Bimbo. It's going to be a post-plant situation with only 1 minute play. The diffuser went down by the time the counter said 2-0-0. Flashed again. What can Bimbo do? Free fire like crazy. Lands the hit on the foot. But now, 30 seconds left. Evil Ozone has a great gun. 2 flash grenades. And they actually trade!
Oh, trade! Oh my goodness, you could not ask for a more exciting finish to the round that's going to push us to overtime. My goodness. I really thought that Windstorm had thrown that there. I thought once the blitz died, I was like, oh, he tried to get too aggressive. He threw. I don't think that Yeji's going to be able to pull this off. Watching from Yeji's perspective, we saw him go down. I thought all was lost and that Genesis had somehow managed to pull that out. But the trade that, of course, goes in the favor of the attackers because the diffuser had been planted. And a blitz rush, 1v1 trade to finish. My goodness, what an excellent round. And I think we're only going to see even more excitement as we head down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think I'm just gonna enjoy the replays, man. I think I'm just going to lean back for just half a sentence here.
Yeah, take a breather, absolutely. Glorious to watch how this blitz worked. They had, you know, all the utilities on 6 to knock down not only the barricade, but also the Aruni gate. They rushed, took out the Banshee before the defenders could even hear it going off. Blitz was in sight, hip firing away on like a sliver of HP, taking them all down. Also, I'd like to note, I didn't realize that Castle could just tear down barricades when he put his castles up.
Relatively new. Yeah, I mean, it saves you half a second during the prep phase, and the defenders, I suppose, will enjoy anything that can save them a bit of time because they're going to have time to do, well, to squeeze more things into that preparation phase.
Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely.
anecdotal, but yeah.
Any amount of time is good. Yeah.
So at this point, the orange team, Windstorm, has won 3 rounds in a row. It's as good as... No, my bad. Genesis at their peak in the 4 first rounds of the game won 4 rounds back to back to back. So momentum almost as good as Genesis in their peak. And now we are going back on defense. Supposedly the easier side, but at this point, both teams have had better luck attacking. And it seems to be like a weird pattern from the last like 3 weeks. Every single match, every single map across different teams is becoming an attacker-sided, even though the game's meta hasn't shifted that much as far as I know. I ask truly because my gold brain sometimes does not comprehend things that happen in the game. So this is weird, but then again, I was going to say Windstorm supposedly on the easier side still as they're attacking.
Yeah, you're right. I think even though the meta hasn't shifted that much, I think I found that in most levels of play, it seems like defenders always start the season with the meta sort of in their favor, just because people don't know exactly how to push onto site with new operators and you know, even sometimes with how maps are rearranged or changed. So I think the seasons usually start off pretty defender-sided, but now they're about a month into whatever this season is called. I think the attackers have started to... There we go, high caliber. I'm glad somebody remembered. I can never remember the season names, but now that we're finally a little bit of the way, or at least a month of the way into high caliber, I think we're starting to see the attackers get a bit more confident. They've done this now. They know what operators can be brought now that, of course, for professional or play at this level, you know, the operator quarantine is over. Osa can be brought. You know, she's not doing a whole lot here, but there are also just the other changes. Even just talking about, you know, saving time with the castle setup. There are all these little tweaks that UB is pushing out with all these new seasons, and players are starting to get comfortable with that. And so even traditionally defender-sided maps, once they're played enough, attackers get really comfortable with learning how to attack, how to find those standard defensive positions, and how to flush those players out, as we're potentially going to see here is Bimbo doing the same smoke shenanigans from earlier, trying to play around the floor and kids' room onto this kitchen hole from below, but it looks like Cuban might start to get the better of him as he's going to open up some vertical angles, and Bimbo's going to try to conserve his life, save those smoke canisters, which I can't fault him for. I think that's the better play.
I mean, at this point, yeah, you don't want to be too aggressive, because if you're lucky, you can get the kill on Cuban being the top frag, no, the second top fragger, my bad. And it looks like it's maybe going to be the case. They're both trading kills, right? But the idea is you have more to lose than the enemy does, so that's a risk, in my mind, not worth taking. Still, he does, and he gets the pick. So who am I to judge? Then again, I am the kind of player to stay pretty passive. Evil Woo's going to get a nice kill there. That's going to be chipping away at the guy's on site itself, which is arguably more important, because if you have control of the bomb site, you're going to force the roamers, aka in that case Yeji, to get back on site, which is exactly what's happening right now. I just noted for the very first time we're going to be seeing a Flores, and how efficient is that going to be? Answer is like not that much, right? Just trying, like, utility is what they're good at, because they're never going to get the kill on somebody actually, but there was no deployable shield to be found there. The few players are going to be really lit, really low. It looks like we're going to be sticking a plant right. This is ballsy. Oh. And it does not work out.
Trying to provide cover. Yeah, you're right. Does not work at all. He will get a pistol kill, but 4 seconds left. He's got to go get really aggressive. Oh, wow. Shiesty saving his team's hopes. Genesis get their first round win in several rounds. They're able to hold out against a changing attack. That Flores coming in, the Ying, the hard push. They had a lot of kills going their way, but that Flores turned out to be deadly in more ways than just exploding drones. Pulling out the pistol there at the end. What a close round to start this overtime. And yeah, I think digging into this round, there's so much was happening. I mean, this was an all-out war zone. I don't even know where to begin talking about how this round went.
Changing mags.
Yeah. This was chaos.
10 seconds
Chaos
to go.
really is what happened there, and it's both a good and a bad thing because
5 seconds to go.
it depends on your point of view. When chaos ensues, the team is less coordinated, and so like the crazy aggressive, everybody's just funneling onto bomb side, everybody watching everybody's flank, and like the team doesn't receive it and never sees anything coming really. So if you like coordinated, organized assaults on the bomb site, this is not what you're gonna get here. On the flip side, things happening so fast that communication breaks down and everybody is just reacting on like pure instincts and gun skill and game sense in a very broad sense, brings out like just the visceral skill of an individual player tossed into a situation where they can control nothing but their own actions. So this is a situation where individual players shine more than, I mean, the sum that they are as a team, basically. Not sure if I put it in the right ways, but this is the way I see it.
No, absolutely. I love what you mentioned there, because this is something that I think everybody's experienced in Siege. I mean, everyone comes into this game, it's like, hey, let's get a 5-stack. You always want a 5-stack because you can communicate, you can set people up in certain positions on certain operators, right? Everything's going to be organized. We're going to aggress onto the site in this proper manner, and you've seen that this game. You know, some flawless rounds that come out from teams working well together. But then you have absolute just cluster cluck rounds like that last one, and you're absolutely right. It all comes down to that raw mechanical skill. I mean, everyone, it's like, you know, it's kind of where soul meets soul. I guess soul leaves body. You know, your instincts take over. It's pure raw mechanics. It is going hard, and you just gotta frag out, and that's absolutely a wonderful thing. That adrenaline rush, seeing that Flores there, that kind of slow peak. He kind of like went for the peak, then didn't, then peeked, jumped in, and got the kill.
Two kills with
those
the
are the kinds
weakest
of things.
pistol in the game, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to see that with a coordinated push. You're only going to see that if push is coming to shove. You've got to make money moves, and there's no time left to do it at all. Excellent observation. It's such a fun thing to witness, especially at this level of play.
Oh yeah, especially the yellow pinks. This is the thing though. When everybody stays on site, they are maybe somewhat complacent. They're hiding behind their bunker, but they cannot bunker up the floor. And now you have that somebody with the nades plus the buck. I mean, nobody's dying, granted, but the attack, Genesis is just chipping away at Windstorm's health. Do keep in mind that Windstorm is in a match point situation on top of that. So Windstorm, even though they're not dying just yet, it's the kind of like losing health situation that they can hardly afford. As Beamboy and Evil Woos are both going to get a kill in rapid succession. Woos was the roamer, so if he wants to just keep on pushing that, who still is that? I thought it's going to be Buck. Woos could really be on a tear. Gets another on Beambo and runs back away. This is actually the right thing to do because now Waffle is going to be chasing a ghost, and by doing so, he's not helping out his teammates, and now you have, you know, Yeji and Shiesty, who are basically in a 2v3 situation for a bomb site, both in the big window, so this should be really easy to shut down. I say as the smoke provides cover. Does not matter. National from below. Waffles now does not know what to do. Gets a kill there. Walking up the stairs will be so predictable. Once again, he's got to pull up the 1v3 clutch, or it's going to be a map for Genesis. No, my bad. Rather, Windstorm would bring this into match point.
Yeah, with the player on foosball and the player hard left there watching that white stair door, I don't see how Waffle can pull this one out. He might have the skeleton key in his pocket. Maybe he can catch the player. Oh, he sees his legs. Oh, he's going to catch him almost in time, but not quite. Ozone's going to fall off into a safer area. And just play very, very conservatively. That's what you like to see here. Don't go unnecessarily swinging. Leave the players in positions where they can refrag off of each other so that you can lose a player. Maybe it's guaranteed that you lose a player. Or actually you just get the kill instantly and you just, you know, spite everything that I just said, including what we were talking about with both of these teams favoring attack on this map so far this game. The past 2 rounds have both gone to the defense, both on top floor. Defense seems to be the way to go. If this trend continues, Windstorm may have won that round, but Genesis are taking them to basement on what is currently becoming more of a defender-sided map, so they might have this in the bag right now. We're going for all 15 rounds, and I could not be more excited.
You did ask me before we went live how many of the matches are going into a third map. I mean, if this back and forth down to the wire situation between the two teams keeps on staying like that, we could absolutely see a third map. And I do want to bring up a factor that, of course, is not going to be major just yet, but if every map goes into those later stages, stamina and I mean momentum or endurance rather is the word I was looking for, could become a bigger and bigger and bigger factor if a team was to start falling down and being tired and making stupid mistakes due to them like being sleep deprived earlier than their opponent. Well, that could then become a major difference between the two teams, which we would not be seeing just yet right now.
Absolutely, and if all these games or all these maps go to overtime match point, and there are 3 of them, then some of our stamina might be dropping as well. But
That's very true.
I think, I think we'll stay in it. I am very excited to see this go to overtime. These teams are both deserving of it. We both said from the beginning, really, that despite Genesis's early lead, the scoreline was a lot closer than it seemed. And we poked fun at Windstorm, or we called them out, where they've been making mistakes, they've been getting weak, they've been getting sloppy, and they've really started to clean a lot of that up. They've won, what, 4 or 5 out of their last 5 or 6 rounds, I believe. Maybe 3 or 4 out of their last 4 or 5.
I mean, they kind of did pull a comeback.
Absolutely, they did. So either they listened to us or they listened to an IGL. They got into the right headspace, and they brought this back from what was initially a 4-0 start, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, it was a 4-0. They won 2 more rounds, and we had a 4-2 split for the attack at the end of the first half, which is the kind of stuff that you do not expect the losing team to come back from. But then again, this map, up until the overtime situation, was like attacker-sided for some strange reason. And I mean, scratch every kind of like logical analysis I can do, because human factor be random. And now 7-7 for the first map. I mean, we're in for a treat as far as like the entire series with the 3 goes.
Absolutely. Everybody pull out your popcorn right here. This round, I get the feeling is going to be pretty intense. If this turns out to be a flawless, I sincerely apologize for having cast or cursed one of the teams. But I think it's going to be really fun. We're seeing a Warden come out, for goodness sakes. He's playing the shield. Not a smoke, but a Warden inside of bunker, as Yeji trying to help cover him as well. Doesn't look like he has that anti-nade utility, though, to protect him. So he might be in a bit of trouble, especially with these Flores drones coming in. That drops the shield, and he's in a bit of a pickle right here.
2 things. It's a logical reaction. Just remember how extensively the smokes were utilized before. So just having to keep it really. To see through a smoke could be huge. I say as like nobody has the smoke canisters, the smoke grenades this time around on the attackers. But hey, I mean, you anticipate what you can. Second, Yeji is sorely overstretched here. With only 15 bullets in the mag, holding 2 main ingress points into the F4 as a whole is just too much for that gun, as Evil's gonna get a kill there. It's Clouds. Everybody's name starts with Evil on that side, my bad. So right now we're gonna have Behimbo, who is basically gonna be doing exactly what Yeji was doing. Watching into bunker, watching into the backstairs window, backstairs period. Gets a nasty kill there. Evil with maybe another Rotero drone. Apparently not, I say, as maybe he's going to pull up another one. No, okay, I am caster cursing myself in that case. There you go, he does pull it out. Now that there's no deployable shield anymore. Oh, was he going to go for the Banshee? Does not seem to be the case. I'm not sure what he's going for. He just ran out of time, unfortunately. 38 seconds left on the clock. The attackers are going to have to push it pretty quickly. You have only very few Hibana pellets left. They don't yet have control of E-Box. They have not managed to walk down the big stairs, but they are in bunker. At the end of the day, this is a pretty precarious positioning for the attacker, especially considering how the timer is running low right now.
Those flash grenades are going to prove vital, as the Warden is not there to counter them. Shiesty, though, a clutch C4 going to go out and take down Ozone. This is exactly coming down to the wire, just like we predicted it would. 3 versus 2 right now. 2 defenders left. The attackers are going to start going. There's no C4s left in either player's pocket. It's all on Waffle. Shiesty goes down. He can't quite get the kill. And Windstorm pull out an insane comeback victory here on Oregon. They take it 8-7, and they take the first map. Genesis's map. Oregon is down. We're on to Cafe.
What can I say? What can I say? These players gave it their all, and it's both a good and a bad thing, because like we kind of alluded to, stamina and endurance can become a big factor if this down to the wire kind of situation is going to keep on going for hypothetically 2 more maps. Furthermore, I think we are going to be forced into swapping or updating our casting playstyle a little bit. But what I mean by that is, simply put, when both teams are so close to each other, the tiniest, smallest mistake they made, it's going to be amplified 1,000-fold, because that's the only thing differentiating the 2 teams, right? So at the end of the day, I feel like we would be, quote-unquote, more or less justified to become a bit more nitpicky on the mistakes that the teams make, because once again, the official would usually go, you give an inch, they're gonna take a mile, but in that case, you give an inch, them gaining an inch is the only thing they need to actually get the upper hand, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This only foils the teams even more closely than it did before, just because of how close it was. You're 100% right there. Yeah, there were small mistakes that round. I think Yeji gave himself away way too soon. He didn't realize there was a player out on barrels. He let himself die. The defense, Genesis, for their part, though, they stalled incredibly well. I mean, we were down to the absolute wire with that diffuser going down, and even then, it was still a 3 versus 2. And the last two players, there was the swing. I forget which player it was inside of supply room. If the player in E-Box hadn't been looking exactly his way or had been a split second off, he could have taken down the planter. Maybe he would have died right after. Player from Freezer can come out, take down pillar player, take down diffuser when there's no time left. So that easily still could have gone Genesis's way. I think they played that round a little bit sloppier. They played time really well, but they gave themselves up just a little bit too quickly, especially losing that Warden right when those stun grenades counted and just letting themselves get stunned in typical positions. They just didn't have the ability to rotate and get to better locations. So absolutely, we're going to see the team's mistakes and issues foiled a bit more greatly, especially into this coming game. But yeah, a great game overall. Both teams made some vital mistakes at the wrong times, and both teams also pulled themselves together up by their bootstraps, played really, really well. Couldn't be prouder of both of them, and I think we're in for a rather exciting Cafe Dostoyevsky map.
Absolutely. But before we go into Cafe, we're going to take a quick 5 minutes break. The players will want to take stretch their legs, go get some water. And so all things considered, I gotta work the mouse, like update a few things in the background, such as the map, and taking my time to do so instead of like awkwardly saying I am typing while I'm not actually fully focused is going to be better for the production quality as a whole. So guys, if ever you want to take a 2 minutes break to go get yourselves a bowl of popcorn, I have a nagging feeling it would be a worthwhile investment. It would be, a bowl of popcorn well spent. So with that being said, don't go anywhere. We will be right back for map number 2, which will be Cafe Dostoyevsky.
right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the second map of what has been a very, very fun game so far between Windstorm and Genesis. If you missed the first map, I'd highly recommend that you go rewatch it once this finishes publishing and gets fully published, I guess. Excellent game. Went to a full overtime, all 15 rounds. Genesis unfortunately came out on the underside. It was an 8-7 win in the favor of Windstorm, but a very, very close game that really could have gone either way, even down to the last round. Would highly recommend anyone tuning in now go back and check that out once the footage becomes available. But regardless, you're here now, so sorry for spoilers, but if you're watching, you should know that anyways. We're up 1-0 for Windstorm in this best of 3, and I think the players are starting to get ready, and hopefully we can jump into Cafe Dostoyevsky, which is Windstorm's map, so they won Genesis's map, and now they're going to their own. We'll see if they have similar success here.
And so, yes, the funny thing is the players were ready before you ever came back. So they kind of were waiting for us. What I got for you right now is the one and only little detail that may have eluded most people in chat simply because you didn't quite get to see the players until now. And it is, we are going to have a bit of a roster swap as long as a player is actually on the roster in between two maps of a best of 3 series. They're allowed to change a player, and so Tra is replacing, I am too amnesic to tell you who's missing there, but yep, some new player is now no longer there. Furthermore, I'm not sure if your overlay displays that, the screen share. I wanted to use the R6 Analyst overlay to kind of try and guess or suggest the smart bands, right? Like using statistics to say which team has like strong performances on the one operator. Just to use like math to say who you should ban. But it looks like we're going to go for a Zofia ban. I am not too surprised because do you remember how deadly the LMGs were last round?
Absolutely. Finka and Zofia both packing some heat with their LMGs. Not super surprised to see Zof gone, though Genesis banning that, if I remember, well, I guess Finka was Bimbo's main. Zofia was primarily used by, can't remember now who it was, but it was somebody on Windstorm, so that's definitely a target ban, especially for a map like Cafe. Everyone predicts a Thatcher ban to come out immediately to make it more difficult to aggress, primarily onto the top floor, cocktail bar, and onto kitchen service entrance. But yeah, so the ban's coming out other than the target ban of Zofia. The Thatcher will be banned. I guess Genesis thought, hey, you know, everybody bans Thatcher here. There's no way Windstorm lets Thatcher come through. So Windstorm actually kind of obliges them in getting rid of the Thatcher. Though Kaid is still notably on the board, so that might be difficult to take out. There's a bit more vertical destructibility that you can use, more soft floors to be able to take out Kaid Electroclaws from below or from above, given the site on this map than on Oregon. So it's less imperative that Kaid be banned here. So instead we see another Mira ban. Poor lady, she is just absolutely getting hated on tonight. And a Jaeger ban to boot, so two very, very fraggy characters with also very, very clutch utility. That's one less anti-nade piece of utility for the defense, and one less utility burner utility for the attackers. So very, very interesting bans in that regard. Looks like we're going to have a rather unorthodox game on Cafe with those bans, especially between these two teams, in what has been a very, very close game so far tonight.
So I don't quite remember who this was. Might actually have been Genesis, but my gut feeling says it's somebody else. I have seen a team go for like these weird bans. Like you'd think to yourself, surely there are better operators to ban than the Zofia, right? Well, you mentioned target ban, yeah, of course, but in a broad sense, because Jaeger as a target ban would seem odd to me, right? And so I am beating around the bush. Most teams will know how to play if Maverick gets banned, if Thatcher gets banned, because you can't expect these operators to not be on the board to begin with. But what do you do when Zofia gets banned? It's like such a middle-of-the-range operator where she's usually present, but she's not OP, so she doesn't get banned, and so now the team does not know how to react when that crutch but, you know, mid-range operator no longer is going to be available. And this can throw teams off more than you'd think. And that might just be what Genesis is doing, because I would argue that banning Jaeger also kind of does fit that build, right? It looks like it does not matter really. Evil Cuban will just play with the Yin Candela charges. That will not even be reinforced. I could hardly tell you why that's the case. Like, to be honest, why would you not reinforce arguably the single most important wall in your bomb site? Because right now, Evil is just going to, like, flash one thing or two. There's no Jaeger, of course. No one might either. And so everybody on bomb site will be weak as a babe, and diffuser will be planted hypothetically within a matter of seconds.
Yeah, very confused right here. Looks like Cuban, he just saw the player on red stairs trying to take out this yokai drone. He's dancing with the devil right here. But this is very weird. Usually if teams don't reinforce that hard wall, it's because they're going to use it and play off of it with the Goyo shield and anti-nade denial. But, oh yeah, here comes the rush indeed. Trey's going to take one down. We'll get back to analysis and questionable decision-making later, as it looks like the aggression's going to come out, but it's not panning out so well right now for Genesis. The defense is expectedly crumbling with that soft wall going down. It's all on Bimbo. He's got the worst gun in the game. Let's see if he can find the peek onto Ozone, who's planting. He can't quite do that. Lion Scan's going to catch him out, too. He's going to do a little dance. Get down tonight. He's just gonna stay on red stairs. There's not a whole lot he can do here. Yeah.
Kind of like a tactical timeouts, impromptu tactical timeouts. Usually they're the attackers who are just gonna chill on the roof, but I suppose if the diffuser's planted, then you as the defender can just think to yourself, screw it. Not as if you're like saving the op or something. This is not CSGO. But I definitely do not see him like trying hard enough, and he's still too passive to like play the stats game. But hey, padding the stats is still gonna happen as he gets a kill, but gets refragged immediately after.
Yeah, so, maybe a not-so-tactical timeout. Oh, and we're gonna get a pause, which is great. It gives us more time to talk about what in the world was going on in Bakery. Because, again, the only time that you see teams leave that wall soft is if they're planning to open a rotate and have, or open a line of sight. Sometimes they'll open one on the red wall, the red hall wall as well, so that players can aim from coat check into Bakery, catch some players entering from Christmas. But yeah, generally, you leave that wall soft and have a line of sight, maybe a rotate there with somebody playing along that Bakery counter. Now, with the Jaeger ban, obviously you can't play there as well, especially if you don't have Lamai to try to counter grenades. Now, Lamai can't counter them quite as well as Jaeger can. You can't place all your Lamais at the same time. If you're Jaeger, you put 3 ADSs there, and you can probably stall there for quite a while. But because they don't have that, I think they would change up their strategies. Instead, they just left the wall soft, and tried to use a yokai drone, a very aggressive roam, and it didn't pan out when the players all rushed into sight, shut down the lines of sight that were supposed to be watching them, including the Echo, who tried to rush to stop the plant and left them all to the castle. There's a lot to do there at the end. So some questionable decision-making. Perhaps they didn't quite bring their strats up to date with the current bans. So we're talking about how these bans are going to affect both these teams, and so far it looks like it's really hurting Genesis hard right now.
Okay, and it looks like in the time it took us to say this, the players are ready again. So as far as like a tech timeout is concerned, it was pretty short. I mean, you love it when Ubi be doing Ubisoft's things, but when they're messing up, they mess up in such a way that they're like quick and easy to fix. So, I mean, it's as good as it gets. Windstorm off to a really good start. So this is the thing right now. They kind of come off a hot hand because they won the previous map by, I mean, a hair's width, but they still did. They win this first. I mean, now we have a 5-minute break between the two maps, and this can cool them down a little bit. After that, they just won the first round here, but then again, we also have another quick little break due to that technical timeout. What I mean by that is, they on paper would be hot, but the human factor is going to be cooled down by like the pauses that we have in between every single round that they're winning.
Yeah, but it looks like they're trying to keep that momentum back up.
Oh yes,
momentum
absolutely.
is everything in this game. And like you said, they had the 5-minute break. They cooled down a little bit, but it looks like they're back and ready to play. They took advantage of the glaring weaknesses left in Genesis's defense. They're going to go back here to Kitchen. Let's see. Are they going to No, they're going to open the lines of sight at least. Perhaps last round they meant to open the lines of sight, but by the time they got around to doing it, the round had started and there were players in Bakery and they deemed it too dangerous.
If that's the case, that's a major oversight. The kind of oversight that would make you not worthy of qualifying into this league in the first place. So I don't know what the Genesis were doing, but I really hope for their sake that this was a one-off thing, because it was a really big gaping opening into their defense right there.
Exactly, yeah. Hopefully for their sake this is a one-off thing. Again, yeah, the momentum, morale just got pushed up really high for Windstorm coming off that win, coming into this. But it's also a bit of a wake-up call. They've only lost one round. They're like, hey, you know, we're still in this. We can still take this. We can go to another map. We can win this. We just got to play smart. They're already getting their lines of sight open. Looks like they're pulling out some whack strats. They might not have the Jaeger on their side. They're not bringing any sort of anti-nade at all, actually. But it looks like every operator is here for a reason. You got Mute, Goyo, the Echo again, going to be really clutch in plant denial as long as he doesn't rush out and die too early. So it looks like every operator has a purpose being here. None of them are just throwaway ops. And actually, the swing going to come out from Yeji. He's going to make sure that his gun isn't a throwaway either. A nice headshot there onto Clouds. And Windstorm are finding quite a bit more aggression in this round than they did in the previous one.
I mean, talking about the SMG-11 that just got the kill there, it has such a great rate of fire that it technically at some point had the highest TTK in the entire game, even better than the Vector and then everything else, like the Scorpion or what would you. It has such a small magazine capacity and the recoil isn't the greatest that you could hardly say it's the best gun of the game, but it certainly is a goddamn killing machine in the right situation. Tra having control of Kochek, especially since that wall is open, it's really interesting. I mean, if he wants to like really stick his nose right into the opening, he would presumably get line of sight on Yeji. Yeji actually knows that there's a danger there as well, so I guess it's not as black and white as I first thought it was going to be. But don't forget that there's still 2 frag grenades on Evil, and the nade timing is actually off. Looks like this time around doing the same thing makes you predictable, and as such, it might be the opposite of the definition of insanity because they're doing the same thing and they are seemingly actually going to get the different results. Oh no. Oh,
the
yes.
C4 caught mid-air, but can't quite get the swing. shiesty going to come around from behind. He had 2 clutch kills, I believe, in that round, coming off red stairs. And yeah, you mentioned Trey and Kochek. He had the perfect line of sight into the site. It seemed like all of the downstairs was just almost freely given to Windstorm to take, and I was really questioning that, as I think you were too. But then we saw shiesty's push down from upstairs. We saw how the roam kind of collapsed back onto the outside site and was able to really secure it and clutch it off as the anchors were just able to crawl around. I mean, look at this play right here from the edge. He's crawling around this little oven right here, just waiting, basically daring the attackers to shoot at him. I mean, any of them could have popped up if they angled themselves right. He was down. There were 3 men in bakery at that point in time, I do believe. So that was really, really ballsy there, but he just stayed alive. Played as conservatively as he could in a very, very dangerous and precarious situation, and he allowed the time to stall for the roamers to collapse back onto site, or onto the offsite actually, and take out the rest of the attackers. So really, really great coordination there, and also some really good gun skill. Genesis, they saw their mistake. You're right. I think it was a bit of a one-off. Looks like they're back in this fight and they're here to stay.
So, my question, looking how well the second round went for them with the same setup, the same defense, it's just that they actually had the right setup and they executed right. Was the idea of opening up, like literally opening up the bakery wall, is it in order to like bait the attack into pushing bakery and thus, I mean, inviting the attackers to play literally into your hand? At this rate, I suppose this might actually be what we were seeing, because it worked, even though my gold brain says it shouldn't.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
You think your gold brain says it shouldn't? I'm a gold on PS4, so mine just doesn't compute right now. But yeah, absolutely. I would imagine you're exactly right there, because generally when you have that long angle open, I mentioned at the beginning, there's a player in Kochek who's got castle protection from the main entrance.
I was going to say there's still someone in Kochek spawn peeking, but Yeji's just right behind that. Sorry for cutting you off. That could have been relevant, but it's not.
No, you're all good. I completely understand. That would have been a great segue, too, speaking of Kochek.
True.
But yeah, usually there's a player right there in Kochek who's ready to frag out through the wall, see into bakery, catch players off guard, have some castles there to protect him from behind. But they had nobody there, so it must have just all been a great bait for shiesty and the others to collapse back from upstairs and retake the outer edges of sight. So I think you're absolutely on point right there with that analysis. Though getting into this round, Waffle on the downstairs roam, nothing like a Goyo with a Vector on the roam. You mentioned rate of fire, and this thing is an absolute machine. I don't know if it or the Scorpion has more.
I do not have an encyclopedic knowledge of the game that good. I do want to say, though, that the Nitro Cell from beneath is going to be a weapon to be reckoned with, because, I mean, getting kills through vertical just with that SMG is somewhat of an oddity. Not saying it's not going to happen, but especially if they have camps there. Oh, this could actually be pretty good. Oh, yeah, it's not going to be the Vector from below, but that's actually going to be a double kill with a Mossberg shotgun. Right now, it looks like Woos will not give themselves up just yet. But one thing is for sure, the push has been dismantled, and Windstorm will have to basically link back up together and rethink about what they want to do, because they lost close to half their players with just one fell sweep, the intel from the drone, the shotgun, pulling the trigger twice. That's all it takes to basically, I mean, break down your entire setup.
Yeah, I mean, having shiesty on that shotgun, I'm kind of confused as to why they didn't do that more last game. We will take a break to notice that Woo's a nice headshot there onto Yeji, some great mechanical skill playing on that window. But yeah, shiesty 4-1 already this game. I think he ended with maybe 4 kills in the last game, maybe 5 by the last round. I mean, he was by far the bottom fragger in the lobby. Now, this isn't to discount support players, though. Being one myself, I usually get very few kills and all my friends carry me, but I do a very valuable job when I play Siege, and I'm getting intel, getting call-outs, using utility properly. And that's exactly what HansIV4 was doing, playing a lot of Hibana. I don't remember exactly who he was on defense, but right now he's switching off that role and taking on much more. He's the top fragger on his team right now, doing the most for them right now, on or off a support position. And in fact, he'll pick up another one there onto Woos, but Clouds will be there to refrag. Oh, and Waffle with a TK. He takes down the man, the myth, the legend, HansIV4, who I think was already down, so it doesn't really matter as much. Trey will be felt as well. It's a 1v1 now. Cloud versus Angel. Keep in mind, Angel does have, I think, at least one yokai drone. Should the plant push come to shove, but Evil Clouds is going to win it out against Angel. A pistol headshot and some confusion as to why he would peek that. I wouldn't peek that either. I don't think he knew that Trey was downed, potentially. But a little confusing as to why he would try to swing up there and not just sit back and hide and cover himself. But along with throwing his life away, he will throw the round away as well. And very close one roughly.
I have a hunch that somebody was watching the drones at the end of the round. Because you do mention the player was down. Did they know that? Well, if your dead teammates are watching the echo drones, which presumably are stuck to the ceiling and does have like a CC camera like POV, that is the kind of intel that the defense should have at we still have like a few players on camp, so it presumably was not seeing anything. Okay, yeah, but yeah, you don't want to peek, and just by having players on the yokai drone, we can thus deduce that they still had one up, and then only 14 seconds left. Yeah, dazing somebody with a yokai drone at that range, right? They could like run up to you if you pull up the camera too. Dazing somebody to deny a plant or to make them an easier target to actually shoot down when push comes to shove. Because once again, in 15 seconds, either they're gonna plant and stick to it, or they're gonna rush you to kill you. Woulda, shoulda, but I kind of feel like Angel crumbled into the pressure there.
It's an easy mistake to make, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There's more time on the clock, like you said, than I initially thought. I didn't realize there was still so much time left. So perhaps the swing wasn't as unjustified as I initially thought. But still, yeah, always a difficult position, you know. Do I make the swing? Do I go for the kill? Do I sit and stay complacent and patient? You know, it's always a difficult decision, especially if he didn't have yokai drones left, which I'm not sure if he did or not.
He still had one. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, you had dead teammates watching or sitting on the yokai drones, so by extension, there still has to be one up for them to be able to do that. But I mean, to be fair and to play my devil's advocate by using the argument you just brought up, or the point you just brought up rather, Sledge was chucking nades, so if you stay put, you're likely to blow up pretty quickly. Speaking of nades, do you see 6 nades on the board? Because I do see them. I am gonna have like major throwback to like a one pro league round I saw back in like year 1, where the attackers planted the diffuser and they were like tossing a nade after nade after nade, and it was basically covering the diffuser for the full 40-some seconds. I don't think it's gonna be the case because the meta is like 5 years later at this point, but that would be funny to watch still.
I wish I'd watched Siege Year 1. I didn't actually get into the game until White Noise. But it sounds like there were a lot of really fun games back then, back in the day when the meta was probably really busted in a lot of ways, but, you know, a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, obviously, oh, well, Cloud's going to interrupt me. He's going to take out Waffle. Down goes the Goyo, potentially a run out, or did he peek the window above him, maybe? Can't tell exactly where that came from, but regardless, the player is down. It's so difficult to see now without the bodies, yeah.
Yeah, no idea. But,
oh my gosh, a second for Clouds. Wow, what a little pixel peek there. I think into Cigar, he was able to get that. As a smoke canister, they got so much grenade utility, and it's because there's nothing to stop them. Maybe there's a Wamai, I guess. But I mean, Wamai only has so many magnets he can throw out at a single time. They have to charge throughout the round. There's no Jaeger here. They can ying and frag, you know, without remorse at all, and they're going to do exactly that. This Echo ain't got nothing on them when frag grenades and Candelos are coming in to stop him left, right, and center.
Absolutely.
So, with
oh no, Scheisse, it's not the time. He makes it out alive. I did not expect him to survive to that.
Alas, to no avail with the C4, but yeah, you're right. Not really sure how he made it out alive from that, but the flank from Bimbo not going to work out. Woo's on the window. A bit of a tongue twister there, and he wins out that fight. HansIV4, oh gosh, can't rotate fast enough away from the bullets of from Woo's. And Trey, the new member to the team, gonna fell Angel as well. A flawless round. And Windstorm right now, you can tell this is their map. They're making this look like a clinic.
They absolutely are. I mean, were they struggling on map 1? I mean, looking at how many like flawless rounds and easy wins they get, I could hardly tell.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be much more in the driver's seat. Look at the last map. 4-0 to start from Genesis. Really, really difficult for Windstorm to get into the game. But once they did, and once they found their footing, they were off to a good start. Now, that's all to say, that Genesis had a really good start last game, and they wound up losing in double overtime. Genesis has already proven themselves. They had a rather decisive round victory already. I think a 3v1 to finish, and one of those kills was kind of an unnecessary threat. Maybe it was a 4v1. So I think Genesis has proved themselves on this map already, and they have the capabilities to win and to play well, at least on the kitchen site. Top floor so far has not been their forte. They did get one round down to a 1v1, to their credit, so they're not out of this yet. I could easily see this kind of switching back as it did in the last map, where Genesis starts to make some comeback rounds here soon.
So really quickly, Angel for Genesis was asking for tactical timeouts. So the coaches will be unmuting themselves, and they're going to be talking with their players for roughly 90 seconds. Roughly 60 seconds of that are left. And so right now, Genesis, though they were in the driver's seat at the very beginning of the series, this is now just a distant memory, and they want to live back the glory days. So taking a break to make sure that you know what's happening and know what you're doing wrong is absolutely important. I do want to say, Windstorm banning the Jaeger and just abusing the living hell out of grenades and Ying Candelas is working out great. At this point, I kind of want to ask, since Jaeger is not there, and since Genesis are falling victim to that too often, why are you not like using the poor man's Jaeger of bringing both a Wamai and a Rooney as often as possible, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been really my big question since the beginning. We saw Wamai 2 times on top floor. Now they go back to kitchen. They're opting to bring no anti-nade utility at all. I mean, I think at the very least on top floor for that second round that they played top, you got to bring the Aruni as well. You got to bite the bullet and bring her. She's not a bad op in all honesty. I think she could replace any of them. Maybe the Goyo even. But yeah, you have to bring them both. I like what you called it, the poor man's Jaeger. Just kind of making the best out of that situation. Remember, if you can just, stave off a couple of rounds, even if this ends as a 4v2 with the attackers winning, because right now I'd say this cafe without Jaeger is going to be very attacker-sided. You get to go to defense. If you've staved them off long enough, you can just clutch out some wins, bringing as much utility as they are, and trying to play a bit better, finding your trigger finger, and using that mechanical skill to really pop off and win. But as it is, they're going to opt to just reinforce all of the walls. They've got mute jammers to potentially mute off part of them. There's no serious hard breach being brought by the attacking side. They do have the Maverick who can open holes, and maybe, I'm sure the thing is probably running smokes and not secondary hard breach. And Lion no longer has secondary hard breach, if I remember correctly. He's back to
Lion was
stuns
playing
and
splashes.
claymores. Yeah.
But
So-
I mean, to be fair, I would want to say that Windstorm's playstyle does not require them to bring a hard breach. Looking at, now the 4 rounds of historical data that we have on Cafe, they don't need to open up a new doorway into the bomb site, because walking up the predictable opening was still good enough for them up until now. I do say up until now because Genesis are going to be drastically shifting the way they defend into the kitchen by simply the fact that Bakery is going to be reinforced. So this could hypothetically throw Windstorm off guard a little bit, because they would supposedly know what to expect, as Genesis played the exact same way twice. And it did work on the second time as well, right? So it's kind of up to the defense to throw the attackers off guard, and they're going to be doing that a little bit so far. That innovation, though, might be a better or also a weaker strategy compared to what we saw coming from them before. So is it a good or a bad thing? I would say let's wait and see. One thing's for sure, Bahimbo right here will be receiving the pressure, and there is a lion scan. Does not matter. He's going to jump out. Actually, vaulting by using the spacebar is not going to get you pinged. It's only like moving around, and vaulting, as far as I want to say, is not going to, like, yeah, WASD, right, is the one that's going to trigger you on the scan. So I'm not quite sure there, but one thing is for sure, as the roaming player, he gave up ground way too quickly. Because he did not really slow down the attacker's push. He never even got drowned out. So, that's how fast he fell back, right? So he might as well just not have been there in the first place.
Yeah, that's fair. He definitely pulled off the roam way too quickly. He has wasted a decent bit of time. They haven't gotten the sledge above site yet to start opening, I don't believe. Looks like they might be going to do that right now as we speak, about halfway into the round. Maybe just slightly delayed behind schedule. But here he is with his massive sledgehammer to just rain absolute hell down onto these defenders. Like you said, a different strategy coming out, but different isn't always better. So we'll see what the defenders are able to manage. The C4 going out to no avail. That's just going to make even more vertical plays for the attackers to make. But let's remember that every hole is a two-way hole.
Absolutely.
And both the attackers and defenders can use it. So we're going to see how well the gunplay and potentially some more C4 play actually can pan out here.
Yeah, the way I like to phrase it is murder holes have no allegiances and they can really go both ways. Right now, Evil Clouds is just using as many hits of the sledgehammer as possible. I mean, it's rare that you see somebody actually use out the hammer. And we're going to be there soon-ish at this rate. Woo's taking some amount of damage with 28 seconds on the clock. They are barely just starting to claw at the very floor where the bomb site is. So they're going to have to make things happen pretty quickly, I say, as Woo's gets a kill. So I guess they are on the fast track to do just that. But then again, with 15 seconds now, they are definitely not going to have enough room for a plan B. So if that does not work out, they are going to be toast. Just as toast as Evil now. Last one alive. Woo's is down. That could be a kill. Does not even get it. He gets it, but with 4 seconds, it is already too late. That's the thing, right? The 20 seconds meta, because that's what we saw right here, makes it so that you are really sure that you're going to succeed from the get-go. But then again, being really sure does not prevent you from being wrong. And when you're wrong, you cannot rotate, you cannot drone, you cannot think to yourself what way to do next, because there's not going to be an opportunity to go for plan B.
I wonder if the 20-second meta was originally their idea. Like you said, the alibi did not stall. No, absolutely not. Yeah, the alibi did not stall for nearly long enough. Necessarily from what I would expect to be, you know, a typical run. At the same time, though, because she fell back and was able to keep her life, she held out VIP and did a close roam for far longer than she was able to do her top roam. And even her top roam stalled them from getting into train, from getting it open. They were still worried about a roamer coming up a stairwell. You know, they had to get their players in position. And so once they started getting the ceiling open, there was like less than a minute left in the round, and they had to start getting kills. Meanwhile, all the defenders are rotating into nice little nooks and crannies where they can't be hit from above. Really, really great play by the defense there, especially in that collapsible roam that they've been so good at using so far, just falling players back onto site, doing these kind of gradually regressive roams that really just seem to be panning out, at least for Kitchen, as we've seen so far, besides the first round, which I think was a fluke, just in that Genesis did not get set up properly in time, and therefore Windstorm was able to win. Windstorm, otherwise, has been really good at winning on the top floor, and Genesis has been just as effective at winning on the basement floor in Kitchen. We haven't seen any other sites come out so far, so we might just get stalled out on these two, going back and forth until the side switch.
I do want to say Sledge spent too much time just hitting the floor, because like you said, at some point you are not going to get a kill if the defense doesn't peek you. So you have to have somebody force a rotation of the defenders, right? DAS a Capital Firebolt wasn't really possible there, but the idea still stands. And right there, I like the idea, and it actually is going to work. Gets one, gets refragged immediately after. Angel is not really going to have too many opportunities to get a kill, because I mean, after all, he's been with a shield. So you have Waffle falling back. Waffle is also spawn peeking a little bit. Same goes for Shiesty. Shiesty now being really thoroughly isolated. If Windstorm wants to surround him and, I mean, suffocate him this way, there's no way Vigil makes it out of there alive. But I don't think Windstorm will really go for the anti-roam play style. Rather, they seem to want to recover the diffuser and go back up to go for the absolutely bog standard top-down push, because whoever really runs up the stairs when you're defending bar? Nobody is the right answer.
Absolutely, yeah. The reason it's so standard is, just like you said, because it is the best way to push onto this site. I mean, you don't want to walk through this entire 3-story map to get to the top. Though I have to say, them just ignoring the roamer down below and straight up going up to the top.
Dangerous.
It might be dangerous as long as they watch their flanks, like right here. With Shiesty on red, if this Ionodrone does not see him, especially if he starts using his backpack, he's not actually going to use it. He's going to hide directly below and wait for the sounds of a drop. So this could be really, really bad. He hears them moving above. He's going to manage to catch one almost. Trey's going to live. The impact's going to go up, but Trey's going to get away in time. I was going to say that I thought it was a good idea for the attackers to ignore the defenders on roam and just aggress on the site where there are very few players left to defend. But it looks like that almost bit them in the butt, though they are still alive. Yellow Pink's coming out. Clash would actually be able to finish off Trey if Angel can get close enough. That is the big question right now. As of right now, though, it is only Waffle in sight. Vigil down below trying to shoot up onto heaven and see if he can make anything work out of that. Frag grenades coming out. That's... Oh my goodness, barely going to avoid hitting the Clash. Oh, but right as she pulls the shield down, fell through the holes in the bathroom wall. It's all on Vigil, who's actually managed to rotate surprisingly back to sight. Gonna try to aggress onto red. Not gonna see him though. Oh
what?
Oh! Shot in the back from heaven. Oh my goodness, it's all on Waffle. can't even grab the first one onto Ion. Oh, never mind, I take that back. I eat my words, and Cloud finishes him off, though, eating Waffle just as I eat my words. So, as predicted, Windstorm takes the top floor after a very unorthodox clash spawn peek from the basement floor. Was perhaps a little bit too aggressive for Genesis.
It was.
And, did not let them win that round.
The thing is, they hinged their entire playstyle on this, right? They brought the clash and arguably the Doc exclusively to spawn peek. Doc dies, Monty also dies, but he's kind of irrelevant to the grand scheme of things. And then you have a clash that is really ill-suited to become a bomb site. The replay we just saw right there, I'm going to say a Goyo holding on to Pixel would have been 1,000 times more menacing than like the clash absorbing damage but dealing none in return. So they really hinged their bets on something that was extremely risky and kind of paid the price for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That site is way too wide open. And way too long. Too many angles to be held for a clash to go to play. Can't. Oh, where are we going? We're going.
Do you see what I'm seeing? Do you see what I'm seeing? I'm seeing
Oh, an Amaru.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I was taking the drone's POV, but that doesn't really represent who the drone is actually owned by.
Wow, an Amaru coming out. So yeah, I did want to make quick mention. If you look at the kill feeds right now, specifically, I mean, there is a big goose egg on Ozone still, but I mean, they're up 4-2, so I wouldn't really be complaining if I were his teammates right now. Maybe he'll pop off a bit more or just take on a more support role on defense. Looking at the attackers, though, if I remember correctly, 2 or 3 of the top fraggers, Yeji might have been one of the top fraggers, or close to it last map. But Bimbo and Waffle were both huge for their team. Angel was also really big. Shiesty was granted on a bit more of a support role, but so far Yeji is the only one that's playing as consistently as anybody did last map. So I think that's really, really hurting the side of Genesis right now, that their standard players aren't popping off quite as well. They're getting a little bit aggressive, they're getting a little bit nervous, they started losing some rounds, and so maybe they're trying to play differently, playing on operators they're not expecting, or maybe they're just in a different environment they're not used to. In fact, they're not even using the Amaru to go top floor because they're kitchen, so they have to just push the Amaru through service entrance, which is rather unorthodox. But yeah, so just the lack of kills from these players that are standardly getting kills, I think, is really, really negatively affecting Genesis right now. And they're going to have to hope that they can start finding that trigger, finding some heads, now that they're on the attacking side.
One thing's for sure, I mean, you do have too many roamers on top floor. They were expecting a top-down roam sweep from the attackers, and yeah, Vigil kind of has top floor, but the line of sight is so limited. I mean, Yeji is on site, the fuse has been planted, that is some kind of friendly fire right there. So it looks like we're going to have that Trout trying to deny the plan. The Nitro Cell might get a kill, it is going to get something, but the fuse cell goes down. Evil Cupid has to come back down the stairs, and of course, it's going to be a really predictable rotation, and it gets cut off as soon as we take his POV. Genesis, they were the uncontested masters here, and it's always the same thing. The defense gets to pick the playing field, but the offense gets to set the tone. The path of least resistance in that case was not the typical top-down push, and as such, the roamers were easily circumvented. Kind of like Sledge 2 or 3 rounds ago was playing on the top line, not getting too many kills. The attackers were not presenting themselves to the extremely narrow line of vision that they had as Vigil is not Sledge.
Attackers need to protect the
Beautifully put. That was like commentary right there. Some of what you were saying, the words and the way they were flowing, that was just immaculate to listen to. No, that was really great, honestly.
I'll be blushing.
That's what I'm here to do, is to make everybody else blush. And I'm gonna start by making Genesis blush. I was just getting on some other players. I was like, hey Bimbo, where you been? And he said, oh, I've been here all along. I was hibernating. And now I'm awake and I'm playing Finka again. Remember how good I am as Finka? I'm gonna pick up 3 quick kills, march into sight, let my ace get the diffuser down, because I know how to help out. I know when to support my support, get that diffuser down, get the necessary kills to win the round, and finish it up, clutch it out. And now we're only 1 round away from this being a tie ball game. It looks like the switch so far. I don't know if it's just not having Jaeger. I don't know if it was just the really unorthodox, like you said, pushing the path of least resistance. They certainly weren't prepared defensively to handle a straight push onto site. When their roamers tried to collapse, it was too little too late, and they were absolutely obliterated. So perhaps it was just not being quite prepared. We'll see what the true cause of the issue is here on top floor. As Windstorm, this is their first time defending this site.
Yep.
since they're just new to defense, and we'll see if they're able to defend it more successfully than Genesis ever could.
Really quickly, this Rune Suya gate is just a blatant mistake. You want to put it on the other side of the wall so you're going to be able to re-enable the breach once you fall back to the secondary area. It looks like there's going to be a Woos MP5K, but not the mute. Attempting a spawn peek and actually getting it. So were you mentioning like how certain players can get many kills? Yeah, you're mentioning Bihimbo, but that was a tough fragger off the board already. And Yeji did not quite get to mention him before, doubling down on the Amaru. Let's just use our X-ray vision POV to see repelling up into what would be a suicide mission right now. So don't do it. Cuban is right there. Cuban's gonna make a short work of him. Not even. Okay, I was gonna say you have no right to lose that, but they're still being extremely aggressive on bomb site. You're blind, does not matter. Still planting. Cross angles being held. Is that gonna make it? He is gonna make. Wow. Wow.
He's got to get out of there, though. He's got to get the hell out of Dodge. He may have a Finka boost, but he's alone in the side right now, caught off from the side. And Bimbo is nowhere near in time. He's going to have to repel it very quickly and watch a jump out, too. It looks like they're going to time this perfectly with the plant, or with the counter defuse. Or maybe not. They're actually both trying to go to aggress. Here's Woos, though. Oh, he's going to catch the jump out. He's going to be able to catch Woos as well. He's going to light him up, but he's not quite going to grab him in time. Woos is going to have to go for the jump out. He's going to get it, but I don't think he has time to get back to the site. Woos with it all to do. He does it, but he can't do quite all of it, actually. He can't get that counter defuse off. What a great kill for him there, but Bimbo played that brilliantly. I can't believe a 3v5 rush onto Cocktail worked. This is just super aggression right now. Like you said, path of least resistance. Why would we top down clear? Why would we shoot open the hatches? Why would we sit here and you know, potentially get picked off by C4s and roamers coming up red and coming up white? When we could just all bum rush the site, throw some smokes, plant the diffuser, and then get out of there. They did just that. They made it work. They've tied it up right now. And Windstorm gonna have to find a way to quell this aggression.
I feel like Windstorm, they were trying to meet aggressivity with aggressivity. Remember how he got those early spawn peaks from I want to say no, that was MP5K Woos rather. So they are trying just to play their own game, because once again, how can you react when the enemy team is being hyper aggressive? Being passive, being complacent is not the right answer, so you kind of have to pull out the aggressive plays as well, but aggressive inherently means risky. The spawn peak is the perfect example of that, and it did not work out too great. So you cannot play 2D chess against a team that is used to play 4D chess, basically. However, she's still playing with the Amaru, I swear. We're gonna be having the same thing as before. At some point, I want to say, at some point, you just gotta pick trap operators. The speed with which the rush is executed is pretty quick, so they're not droning, right? You could argue that a 20 seconds meta is kind of a last-second rush on site, but it's a coordinated, prepared, and droned rush on site. What Genesis is doing right now is not what I just described, and as such, a frost mat, a cat can, or even just like a bunch of LR Grismont mines could be a game changer. I know those are one and done operators, because once you do realize that there's going to be a frost, well, then you're going to be joining your corners. But hey, if anything can get you 1 point, it's something at least, because right now, we're not winning too many. You know, meaning aggression with aggression when the enemy team is just better at you than that, that's exactly what was trying there, and we are going to be seeing the exact same results as before.
Yeah, meeting aggression with aggression, fighting fire with fire isn't always the way to play it out. Like you said, imagine one is on operator, bring a trap. But yeah, if you take out the rusher, maybe that Ace jumping in to plant the diffuser in a line of smoke, or maybe that Amaru coming in to get a couple of early round picks, that could be, you know, the entire difference maker in a single round, you know. Those frost mats are basically death sentences, so that could be absolutely huge. But they have not opted to do that. Instead, they're bringing a Warden. That's kind of their big counter to what's been a lot of ying, a lot of smoke play. They're hoping to be able to see through that, use sort of some X-ray vision to hopefully stop some diffusers from being put down. We'll see if that manages to help them here. It looks like the rush, if there's one coming out, it's going to be a bit more methodical. It's going to take a bit more time. You're seeing hatches being opened, some more traditional ways of getting into the building. However, Trey is still below, and he can potentially make a nuisance of himself if he runs out here. They do have, I think, a player watching it. Or never mind, that's a lantern.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's dead, so nobody's on cam. Oh, no, okay, Angel's on cam duty, so it's not going to work out. Unfortunate. Okay, two broad statements that are not linked to the exact actions we're seeing right now. First and foremost, the 4-4 scoreline indicates to me that we're likely to see an overtime situation again, and we love to see it. And second of all, seeing the Jaeger be banned, and I mean, the flashes, frags, and everything that goes with that being so prevalent in the meta right now of this specific map, I thoroughly enjoy this game because it's so unique compared to what you'd usually expect a game of Siege to be like. But right there, this is going to be the Warden getting 2 kills in rapid succession, doing exactly what Warden is supposed to be doing. Such a situational operator, but when you're in your element, goddamn, are you unbeatable. Bimbo goes down to Wooz's fire. Shicey gonna try to get a refrag off of that, but peeking into the shield is not gonna be easy, and he's out of nades. So how can you destroy that? Question is, are you gonna destroy that rather? And so now the attack is severely limited in the options of what they want to do, right? Going to mezzanine will be the thing to do, but there's still Drake rather from beneath, and at that range, of course, the Vector is going to outgun anything you can throw at it, except maybe for an SMG-11, like we mentioned before, but there's no SMG-11s remaining on the attacking sides. I say as Wooz gets the final kill.
Yeah, wow, what a much better played defensive round there from Windstorm. They looked at what they did wrong. They had players in certain positions. I also think that Genesis realized they couldn't just pull the same rush out and win. They had to play it a bit more traditional. They went for a rush from Skylight instead. And funny enough, right here, so it looks like Ozone gets these kills. He actually does it.
No,
Trey
Trog,
got both
what?
of those from down below, I believe, which loses me a
Yes.
little bit when I first saw it. But they were both doing, I mean, that's the thing though. Even if Ozone had died, if they'd seen Ozone there, Trey was still below to get him. If Trey had died, Ozone was still there to get both those kills. They had cross angles set up so that when those rushes came, they knew exactly where the push was coming from. Great intel work, great lines of sight, great positioning from Windstorm, and I'd say they earned that round.
No, there's no way around that. They definitely did. Windstorm kind of did read into Genesis' playstyle, and they figured out exactly how to counteract it. Once again, since there is no Jaeger, how to counteract this kind of playstyle might seem a bit tricky. I was saying you should bring out the poor man's Jaeger. Once again, Wamai and Aruni. Then again, you could hardly counteract such a Ying flash from the Skylight without an Aruni, because you can only put them on like walls and doorways and windows, but once again, that's not the Skylight. But they instead went for the Warden and simply just staying out of the way of the flash nade, and it worked beautifully. For the sake of variety, we are going to be seeing this time around a reading room defense. We have yet to see this from either team. What I mean by that is that we have no baseline of expectation of what they're capable of on these bomb sites, but regardless of the bomb site, spawn peaks are going to be attempted, and just like before, Trey is taking more damage than he's inflicting. At some point, we should not do them anymore, but the Cuban has those Kona stations, so I guess at the end of the day, Angel still is the loser of that gunfight.
Yeah, I mean, Trey, these past 2 rounds, lots of aggression, but he's kept himself alive. He scared the attackers. Even if he hasn't killed them, he's made them think twice about pushing from any position. And especially this round with the Thunderbird and the Kona stations, that's really great that he's able to heal up. But it looks like, oh, the push, he's not going to catch it in time. It's a trade, though, as Ozone takes down Yeji. The Clouds will be traded back out by Bimbo. Now, White Stair control is almost completely in the hands, at least from coming up from the bottom of the attackers. Cuban is still above, though. He's being pressured from the window. Looks like an impact going to come out. Not going to matter, though. Woos is going to finish off Bimbo. And oh my gosh, Woos with another one onto Angel. Doing a great work of cleaning up this right stair push right now. Could have potentially turned into a terrible rush that would have netted Genesis a round win here. Has quickly turned against them with the flank from behind. Cuban going to grab Shiesty as well. Apparently nobody's watching flank cams or has one set up to begin with. It's all on Waffle-Doo. He's got 3 Ying Candelas and a whole clip of LMG magazine bullets. He's not even going to find one. Will he? The player retreats into laundry. Tries to peek him again. Caught in a crossfire. And there's nothing you can do there. Ozone finally finding some kills on the board. Using that NPX with that beautiful Vitality skin to take, what is this match? This is match point now.
This was round 10, so we are seeing match point indeed. So yeah, just to put the emphasis on the very last gunfight that we saw, the Type 88, is it called? The drum mag LMG, basically. LMGs with the pre-fire capabilities are absolutely deadly because they come with the promise that as soon as line of sight is established, you're going to be the first one to shoot, presumably the first one to land the shot, and thus the first one to kill. But all of that hypothetical goes out the window if you actually miss your shots once you do get line of sight, like we saw there. Not that she was going to get it because she was still like in a 1v4 situation, but I mean, just the one kill should have happened right there on the Thunderbird. Another kind of peripheral question that is, once again, kind of irrelevant with the immediate actions that we're seeing. Angel on Genesis. I am talking out of stupidity, which is why I'm asking the stupid question. Angel sounds vaguely feminine as far as gamer tags are concerned, just in order to not misgender. If somebody in chat knows, please let me know. Is Angel a girl? Thank you. Moving on. Windstorm in match point situation. Genesis knows how to rush. Genesis did pull off a rush once or twice, but rushes inherently mean you are setting yourself up less than you otherwise would because you want to catch the opponent by surprise. That advantage of surprise, when you're doing the same thing over and over again, kind of tends to go away pretty quickly. So at this point, Genesis, I want to say they should probably slow down and think about what they want to do. Keep in mind, Windstorm are not just in match, but also in series point as they won the first map.
Absolutely. All the pressure is on right now for Genesis. They've got it all to do. Already taking damage. Yeji, that is not what you want to see. Match point, map point. Or sorry, map point, game point right now, basically. An opening frag that does not go his way. He really hasn't found the leaderboard as much since he has become an attacker. And oh my gosh, another angle. The flank from the Vigil. He gets Jackal tracked just a little bit too late. That was Woo's actually, not the Vigil. And he's going to grab another one for his troubles, and everything's just falling apart at the seams right now for Genesis. They've just not been the same since coming to Cafe Dostoyevsky, and they've not had nearly the same luck on attack as Windstorm has had. Their rushes, it seems like every round they've tried to take the path of least resistance, and that worked the first 1 or 2 times, but now that it's being predicted, everything's being watched. Just look at how aggressive, and not just blatantly aggressive, but coordinated aggression is coming out right now from Windstorm. They just got another kill right there, wafting down from the Alda of Cloud. It's all on a player outside of the train room window, and Angel, who's trapped inside of Bakery right now. They have no way to coordinate together. They know this round is lost. They've got to try to push in and get a couple of frags. In fact, they've got to kill 5 members of Windstorm, which I just don't think is going to be happening right now. Angel just has way too many rotates to watch. And even though the Vigil is going to be tracked by the Jackal, he's long gone by now. He's like, yeah, I don't need to stand here anymore and let my feet get sniffed. I'm just going to get the heck out of here. And in fact, he is going to dip. And it looks like the 2 attackers will at least converge back onto Bakery, trying to make a push together, get something unified going. Angel will find Cuban. That was a great shot there. Way to use the lean peak capabilities to your advantage. Shiesty watching this long angle too. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. They're both set up properly. They've got to kill this player in the corner at the very least if they want to get anything going.
The other issue is that you're going to have both yokai drones and evil eye cameras. If it's not to deny a plan, because that's not what's going to be happening right now, it's at least good to feed intel, even with those smoke canisters that Shiesty can be tossing out here and there. The yokai drone is just right behind you. Right behind you, on the floor, right there. Okay, anything is going to be good, right? Now, they brought it back to a 2v3, less intimidating than a 2v5, but as I say, 1v3 with very, very low health. This is not looking good, but catching somebody by surprise, Woos goes down. 2v1 situation. Once again, just sniffing, sneezing, looking at Shiesty wrong, and he's going to fall down like a leaf in the wind.
A bomb has been located.
And on top of that, there's not going to be, right there, the Banshee. This removes his position. And Shiesty needs every single millimeter droplet, or you gotta squeeze in every advantage you can get. This is not looking too great. 20 seconds to go. They're both right there, and they also, of course, have cameras. Trey gets the kill. This is gonna be GG's for Windstorm.
And absolutely, GG is deserved. Cafe may not have been as close. There were some close rounds at the beginning, maybe some miscues from Genesis, but that first map on Oregon was definitely incredibly close. GG's to both teams, absolutely. That last round, they really just dissolved too quickly. The counter aggression from Windstorm was just too much for Genesis to handle. I'm very proud of Angel and of Shiesty for how close they made that. They really could have brought that back. They got into position, pushed together. It was really that vertical play from Lucy, I think, and then the fall back on the site that sealed the deal. Baskets as well. But a great effort from Genesis to try to bring that back, but ultimately I think Windstorm was the better team. They made some mistakes early on the second, brought it back really strong to clutch it out an 8-7 victory and then take it 7-4 on their map of Cafe.
Pretty intense stuff, I gotta say. Pretty intense stuff. Okay. Let's just wait for the replays to finish, because I need to bring us back in here. Welcome back. We never even left you. Okay. Yes, what is there else to say here? I am going to really quickly enter in the scores because we are on... Yeah, okay, right here. Because this can be relevant, so we can talk about the score line. Because... this is nearing the end of the main season. We just played round 4 out of 7. There's only 3 matches left, and patterns are starting to emerge, right? So on a good day, you're cementing your position or your spot in the playoffs, and on a bad day, the delay or the gap between you and the teams that are going to make playoffs is so big that you can barely hope to bridge it anymore, and making playoffs would seem like catching a wild dream. So let me just work them out for just half a second. So right here, I found the match. Genesis Gaming had 7 points. Firestorm 8 on the first map. The first map was Oregon. And there we go. And on Cafe it was 7-5, right?
7-4.
7-4. Thank you so much, Cafe Dostoevsky. There we go. There we go. There we go. And so this gives us maps-wise a 2-0 for Firestorm update plus back. And now, if we were to take a look at the outcome of group stage, group 1. Firestorm dead ahead. They are the very first, and Genesis Gaming, unfortunately, second to last with not a single victory so far. This is going to hurt. To be fair, Firestorm, they are... there's another team that has 0 defeats to their name. There's 2 teams that have lost no maps or no matches so far, but they have yet to play their round 4 match. So tied for first place with, how many victories and no defeats. We could still have this 3-way tie, which will be broken due to the tiebreaker protocols we have in place. But so far, Firestorm are looking extremely strong, and this is nice to see. I suppose at the end of the day, you do imagine, you do understand why Firestorm took it away. I do want to say Genesis Gaming were off to a strong start on the beginning of map 1, so they have some potential, but they kind of end up dropping the ball. Shifting my attention to Cafe, they dropped the ball when they did nothing but rushes. They became predictable. It worked once or twice, but then at the end of the day, when it no longer works, stop beating your head against the wall. The wall isn't going to give in first.
Yeah, I think that might be related as well to some of what you were talking about with stamina. Once you get to, a second map in a best of 3, if you've lost the first one, especially in a grueling overtime match point 15 round defeat, you're kind of like, okay, I'm tired of playing Siege. I'm tired of sitting here, droning every round, being methodical, doing everything A, B, C, D. Let's just rush every round and see if we can get kills and win. We're already down 4-2 at the half. Let's just see if we can salvage something doing rushes and not really care about it. And it strikes me that might be what Genesis is doing, especially seeing as they were 0-3 coming into this game and now come out 0-4. So it might already be a bit of a defeatist attitude getting at them a little bit. But definitely, yeah. Seeing as Windstorm or Firestorm is now the top in their division and was actually tied at least before and could potentially still be tied. But, is at the very top and Genesis at the very bottom. Both teams still played out very, very... There were way, way closer rounds, way closer maps than they should have been given that discrepancy. So I think it just goes to show you that despite what the stats and the standings may show, these teams do have a lot of skill and can compete against each other and deserve to be in this league.
Absolutely. Just to echo what you said, you would not expect this close of a player skill level when you look at just the scoreboard, basically. I had another point or argument I wanted to make, but I kind of seem to be forgetting about that. So this is slightly embarrassing. Screw me, I suppose. Playstyle, they're playing Cafe, they're rushing, that's all they do. It doesn't work too great. Okay. My question, it's an open-ended question to you. This match was extremely off meta due to the fact that Yerk wasn't there, so they were kind of abusing flash frag grenades and everything in between. So how much is it that they practiced because that's what they wanted to do and they planned for it, or were they just adapting to the weird and unexpected operator bans that they didn't see coming?
I think absolutely they were ready for a Jaeger ban. I think the Zofia ban was definitely a target one. To see it come out as the first ban on the attacker side, I think that if Windstorm had really wanted to counterban, they would have done something like Finka maybe to really hurt Bimbo, because they used Finka well too on Cuban, but I think Bimbo was a much better Finka player. But instead, they opted for a standard ban with Thatcher, and then also got rid of the Jaeger. Maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. It just seems a lot more thought out ahead of time. They sat there. It was premeditated even before they came into this game at all, that, hey, we're going to ban Jaeger Cafe, and that's why we're going to have the advantage on this map. You see how in Oregon, where things are much more in the meta, it was a much closer game. A lot more mistakes being made by Windstorm. Genesis able to capitalize, play to their strengths. But once the Jaeger is gone, what semblance of normality Genesis had on Cafe got thrown to the wind. And I think Windstorm really, or Firestorm really thought about that ahead of time and said, hey, this is how we're really going to throw teams off. And yeah, I think they definitely practiced for it. They were able to adapt well, bring the Warden to counter that Ying that inevitably came once the Jaeger was gone. They played Wamai well when they did. They brought Aruni, I think, as well. Maybe they did. I can't remember exactly.
A few rounds here and there, but not always. Yeah.
Yeah, but they played to their strengths in that they did not have Jaeger around. And I think that's really what made Cafe their map, and more than just the fact that they selected it.
So if you were to give a piece of advice to Genesis, they just lost both maps, but with a pretty close fashion. However, the discrepancy between the two teams was a bit more visible on Cafe. It would be easy to say they're doing nothing but rushing, but I want to let you answer that. So what is, in your mind, the greatest weakness that Genesis showed us, that if they were to patch that weakness, they would have a chance at climbing into the leaderboard for the upcoming weeks?
See, this is my favorite part about being a caster, is that like I absolutely suck at Siege, but like here I get to pretend like I'm some like sage wizard handing out advice. Like, yeah, you were okay, playing plat and maybe diamond or champion on PC. You guys are okay, but I really know what's good. But in this case, yeah, I think what I said earlier, I'd like to reiterate, just that all-out rush strat. It's great to catch him off guard, but if you're just doing it because you're bored and tired of playing the game and you just kind of want this to end because you just had a grueling loss, you know, you have to have the staying power. You mentioned stamina earlier, and I think it still echoes true now. This, all the regular season matches, and I think all the playoffs besides the grand final in this league are best of 3. If you're coming to play a best of 3 league, you have to come with a best of 3 mentality. Everyone needs to be rested. I know that people have life stuff going on, so maybe they can't get all that out ahead of time. Maybe they're tired. The human factors, as you put it, but you've got to be prepared to deal with that when you come into a game. And so I think for Genesis, don't just throw caution to the wind and hope you can outwin on that mechanical, instinctive play style every single time. Don't just throw away the strategy because you're tired. Keep chugging along to the end, and you just might bring yourself a victory.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that answer. I think this was pretty much everything we wanted to say, right? Has been the last match of the year, of the entire year. Oh, you know what? Why don't I tease it a little bit? You remember like the stat system I showed you? Because so we have very little in the way of graphics. Like, okay, yeah, we have somebody sneezing in the background. We have like the in-game like replays and that kind of stuff, and the map bands are like pretty neat. But like showing the brackets, that kind of stuff is something I really want to bring on to the production. Or if I was just to get back into the game. Of course, right now it's not really too pretty, but I didn't update them, so I didn't use them this today. But for example, like having like shout outs to the casters, or shouting out the Twitter, anything like that, is something I do enjoy for the production. I'm a bit of a production nerd, if you cannot tell. And now, as far as graphics is concerned, I am almost ready, well, technically ready to get player stats going. The main issue is that we were pulling stats. Yeah, this should be active. The way we're pulling stats is, or like retrieving the stats, is from R6 Analyst. The only thing is, R6 Analyst, from the spectator's point of view, is highly inconsistent. Like, there's so many matches where it did not record the performances adequately. So that's a bit unfortunate. But if that wants to work, God, screw me. Okay. But for the very select few matches that we were able to pull data, we're able to build a little something that looks like. Yeah, I think there's not too much else to add on to that. So I've been Hans. This has been Kindertunt. Do you have a Twitter or anything you want to shout? I mean, you just gave me 2 hours and a half of your evening, of your day tonight. So the least I could do is allow yourself to shout yourself out.
So kind. I guess the main thing I do upload to YouTube occasionally. do some Let's Plays on there, different games, also post some casting stuff. So YouTube is Forever the Hobbit, FOREVERTHEHOBBIT. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. And with that being said, we'll catch you all sometime in 2022. We have a match scheduled for, let me just scroll up really quickly, for the 7th. So that would be, I mean, in just over a week's time. But there's also 2 more matches of this of this round that have yet to be scheduled. So we'll maybe have something a bit closer on that front. No VOD has been recorded and is waiting for us to stream it. So that's what I got for you right now. I will of course keep you guys filled in as soon as we get the actual dates and data and numbers and everything. But with that being said, I've been Hans. This has been Kindertunt, and we'll see you guys 2022.
Take
Cheers.
care.